What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. If y'all didn't catch my show yesterday, we breaking down Jason Whitlock's article. Go check that out. It's a very good article. Usually, Jason Whitlock doesn't put out much where you like, man, I agree with that. I agreed with him the other day. So, hey, a dead clock is right twice a day. But, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. All my watchers on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, hey, shout me out in the comments. I appreciate y'all. But today we got a nice, set of topics. But first, how you doing today, Mr. Reid?
I'm doing good. I feel like I cover 0-5 football team.
Oh man, yeah. So your days are long, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's not as long as the Jaguars need to be long. Yep.
Yeah, man. And then not only do you have to deal with the backlash of 0-5, questionable coaching and personnel decisions, the off the field antics. You gotta cover that too. And that right there, my buddy said it's like a reality show. I say, yeah, Love and Football Duval edition.
Yeah, man. It feel like it's going into week 6 and it feel like week 13.
It feel like it's been a very long year already.
And we're not even in the toughest portion of the schedule yet. So it's been a long. Well, at least we didn't have any videos that surfaced this week, so that's a positive.
That's the positive we could take away from this week for sure. But man, we're gonna get into these topics, and we're gonna start out today with Mr. former Raiders head coach John Gruden. John Gruden, basically, he got caught up in an investigation of the Washington football team, where they've pretty much been under investigation for the last couple of years or so. They've had I want to say it's at least 30 plus women, come out, call them out for, certain practices, the way sexual misconduct in the workplace, harassment. The cheerleaders have come out and they were forced to do like basically a naked photo shoot where they only had paint on their body, and it was for like execs, higher ups, and team owners and things like that who were able to go to that and taking pictures of the girls, and the pictures were floating around through emails and stuff. But the reason John Gruden is tied up to this because Bruce Allen, who's the GM at the time, I think he was president of football operations. They had an email chain back and forth, which they say many people were part of this email chain. So I expect more names to come out. They've already named Gruden. They already named Schefter. So I expect more to come out as time goes along. But Gruden, we're going to focus on him and his initial remarks. Initially, the email that went viral is him calling DeMaurice Smith, NFLPA president, Dumbore Smith, and saying he had lips the size of Michelin tires. Now, I saw that and I was like, yeah, that's just insensitive. That's stupid. I wonder what they're going to do about this. And he came out, he apologized, and he coached the next game. It wasn't until the NFL leaked more emails, because they had them, and the Raiders were resistant to fire him. So the NFL was like, oh, really? Okay, well, we're going to leak more. And they leaked more the next day, and he's covered. I mean, he rounded the bases. He's damn near Family Guy. Family Guy insults everybody if you've never watched it. From every ethnicity, height, weight, religion, you name it, they talk about everybody. Your sexual orientation, they make fun of everybody. He rounded the bases. He had racial slurs, misogynistic stuff. He had the photos from the cheerleaders topless. He talked about the LGBTQ community. So, he rounded the bases in these emails. And then that's when they parted ways with him.
Yeah.
And that was amazing to me. I said he was going to keep his job had he just insulted a black man. Let's not gloss past that. I don't think people talking about that enough. You got a few that are, but it's not many that are. It wasn't until he offended, and then he insulted women too. It wasn't until he insulted the LGBTQ community. They was like, oh, no, we can't have this. We can't have these morals. No, what it was is the Raiders was like, no, we're going to keep our $100 million coach. And the NFL was like, oh, no, we got more. You got to let him go. And this is an indictment on Mark Davis as well, because he had to know before those emails got leaked. I'm sure the league didn't blindside him.
Oh yeah. Well, even more to that is like it took the NFL with the leaks. Well, we assume it was the NFL. That's I mean, it took them that long to provide action. Like you said, I mean, I thought that the decision was too slow. You shouldn't have to take a whole strand of emails since 2011 for him to, I guess come to conclusion, even though he resigned on his own, to feel that it's not going to work for our organization. But I tell you what, though, Brandon, whatever that investigation, boy, they must got a whole lot of
65,000 emails. They said
65,000 emails. And Gruden is a guy; he's a character guy and all that. But man, you gotta, that's your true feelings. Then you shouldn't have to hide it in an email.
No.
You feel that way, state it publicly, man. Don't hide behind an email, even though he got caught with it. But I hope he saved his money because he can't relaunch his television career. He can't get back into coaching. So I hope he saved his money. And he got taken off. The Bucks took down his name.
Oh man, I'm glad you brought that up. So when I seen the report on that, and Facebook is a very special place. If you're not on Facebook, just do yourself a favor. You ain't got to be on there because just Twitter is a great place. Insta's nice, but Facebook is almost a cesspool now, especially with the community guidelines. They deleted one of my comments because I said that Cliff Kingsbury needed his ass beat after kicking a 68-yard field goal to end the half. They deleted the comment.
So they deleted it?
Yeah, they deleted it. Nobody reported it. They deleted it. Said we do not condone violence against others in our community. Basically what they said. And I was like, wow. I was like, I've seen worse on Facebook, Mr. Reid. I've seen way worse than what I said, and it stays up. So it is what it is. Maybe they watching me. The feds watching me. So It is what it is. But then that comment section on the post Adam Schefter made about Gruden being taken off the Bucks Hall of Fame list, the comments, man, it's ridiculous. They're like, oh, well, let's bring up everybody's past. Or what about all these players? Let's bring up their arrest record. Okay, the Buccaneers, you got a player who has a pending case against him who's played a full game for you, and basically trying to justify keeping Gruden on there, saying everybody makes mistakes. Dog, this is one you can't come back from.
Yeah, I agree, man. Man, it just goes back to our society we live in, man. We live in a society where, certain people make mistakes and it's okay to give them a slap on the wrist and go back and like nothing happened. And there's another segment of the population, and I guess you can include us in that. If we do something, man, we toss to the wolves for the rest of our lives. Yeah, we never can recover from a mistake like that. So, and people got to be smart too, man. This guy was obviously not smart. I mean, coaching that team, coaching a very, a broad group of young men, and just, you got personal views like that. You don't need to be a coach. Whether he says them or not, if that's what he believes in, then he shouldn't be coaching a team. You got to pay the fiddler if you're going to be that. If you feel that strongly and make those type of statements, then you maybe you have to live in isolation, but you sure can't coach a football team because it's too diverse. And if he felt some of those emails, if he felt like that, I'm surprised it didn't come out sooner.
Right. I think even if he had said something about black people like DeMaurice Smith, said something about women, the LGBTQ community, if he had a chance of surviving, it was gone once he insulted Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. Once he insulted Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, that could have been the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm sure the NFL saw the initial emails and they were like, "Yo, he got to go."
Yeah.
I
think that's what happened.
Yeah, but definitely after they saw the Goodell emails, it's like, yeah, it's set in stone. He needs to go right now.
Yeah, and they probably pushed the envelope. They definitely pushed the envelope with the second round of the email. But I mean, the guy shouldn't have been coaching, making statements like that, calling the guy. That's been a racist joke for a long time. Joking about people personal appearance and having these racial jokes. Those things been going on for a long time. And we, I know our country is so, I mean, look like we're going backwards and not forwards. Look like to me, but but I think resigning probably was the least of the best things he could have done. I mean, more probably come out too. So it is what it is with him.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I never understood is you attacking ad hominem attacks against the person's appearance. Like if you're going to attack somebody, you didn't like the way he handled the lockout. That's what sparked the emails. Okay, we'll talk about that. Talk about his ineptitude as a leader of the NFLPA. Talk about the fact that he's had questionable leadership while the head of the NFLPA, and that he, even though it's not totally on him, he's the president. The bad deals the players have signed since he's been the president, because the players have signed bad deals. They've allowed things to happen to the players that I just didn't agree with. Talk about that. Attack that. Attack his character if he's not a good person, if he's a jerk or whatever. But to attack his appearance and then to go there, that speaks to a deeper issue, something that has been going on for a long time, because he was very, very comfortable in those emails. So DeMar Smith went on Bomani Jones' podcast, and I lost it. Crap. He was basically saying that he said about how comfortable John Gruden was making those remarks, and say that's the thing that he harped on. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Now I got. Yeah, he said, what I'm interested in, this is DeMar Smith, is their correspondent that suggests teams are making decisions about coaches based on the color of their skin. He said he was on The Right Time with Bomani Jones, his podcast. He said, are they actively hostile to players they have chosen to self-identify in various ways? Are they denigrating of people based on sexual purposes or religious identity? And that's a legit question now. You have to question that now. You have to question whether guys were cut, guys were benched, guys were traded because of their orientation, because of their personality. They said he cut Marquette King, who's one of the best punters in the league, because of his personality. So they didn't like his personality. That is a big issue now, because now you see what the issue is. It wasn't just about his personality, man.
But man, I always felt that the NFL had politics from a long way before Gruden. I feel that that guys who went to the smaller schools and maybe was showed a whole lot and don't get an opportunity based on what they're surely not based on their talent. They're not getting a lot of reps and things like that. But you're going to cut a guy because he feel like he didn't with his personality, or he didn't feel like that his personality fit with the style of the team.
Right.
The hardest thing is just getting your foot in the door, and then you got to deal with politics to stay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is Gruden. Gruden said that? I mean, this is what Gruden...
No, this is DeMar Smith.
That he said that Gruden said that?
No. He said that was basically what he was talking about. He said what he's interested in is their correspondence that suggests teams are making decisions about coaches based on color of their skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. and then actively hostile to players that have chosen to self-identify in various ways.
Yeah,
And it
I
does
believe
does
that.
make you question it.
Especially back when they were doing the, not kneeling for the national anthem
Oh,
and guys being vocal about some of the things that they thought was out of whack with the league. I mean, you
mm-hmm.
know, if
Yeah.
you're outspoken, even in the NBA, there've been some guys that I thought outspoken and chastised if you're not one of the superstars, but you know, get chastised for having a personality. I always thought that was the biggest problem with Coughlin here, that he tried to treat young men as like having this overbearing image that they gotta respect you, but you don't give any respect back. And today's athlete, they're not gonna be put in a closet. You're not gonna have a guy in the closet who don't speak his mind, and if he speaks out when he doesn't feel things are being done right, which is like what Jalen did, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
And that's one of the hardest adjustments, from the NBA to the NFL. There's some coaches and administrators and in management that they still have that philosophy, it's my way or the highway, or
Mm-hmm.
you don't move quick enough, or you set the clock 20 minutes ahead of time and they show up on time, but they're not on your time,
Mm-hmm.
and they get chastised. And I still think they're coaches and general managers that have that type of philosophy. And I think you clashing with a generation that's not like it's they're unlike any other. They're not
Yeah.
gonna just sit back and be talked to or mistreated, or they're not going to go in a box,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to make, it's like they're going to make it an issue, which is sort of what's going on right now with Kyrie Irving. I mean, I don't want to move topics, but
Yeah.
but
Oh, we
he
gonna talk about him.
but he's an example of a guy that he's not going to go mainstream. He's not going to be a mainstreamer where he just fall in line and
Mm-hmm.
everything is for the sake of the team, and he's just going to take a back seat. And you got athletes that's coming up behind Kyrie, and that's how it's going to be in these professional leagues, man. They're going to have to, the reality is you're going to have to allow them to have their personalities, or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, just like in New
Expect.
Orleans, or back in the NBA in New Orleans, they had a head coach who couldn't really identify with his players. It's like you can't practice those guys 3 hours each day. Then you go in there and set a plan, and then once the game start, all these 3 hours work we're not running anything what we did in practice.
Right. Yeah.
You could have done that 10 years ago when nobody would have said nothing. They wouldn't have got out in public, and everything would have been peachy rosy. But now these athletes, man, social media is a monster. I just
Yeah.
started with that, and they got
Yep.
more. They feel that I'm not going to be held hostage, and they
Yep.
and I think and I being an old school guy, I think it's good. I think if you look back in the history of sports, if you look back to the Jim Browns, the Kareems, the Muhammad Ali's, that's what they did in the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
And if where would we be if they wasn't outspoken, or where would we be if they didn't speak out on social justice issues? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You see, Demore Smith says it would be good for our game and for our business for both the league and the union to decide that we're going to turn a corner. And we talked about diversity, we talked about inclusiveness for years. How do we turn the corner? Actually, match out actions to our words, and when will we start to hold people accountable for living up to a standard that we believe is acceptable standard for just human interaction? Yeah, I mean, it's amazing because when I heard lips look like Michelin tires, you know what I thought about? I thought about the black cartoon characters whose lips and noses were drawn disproportionately big.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those really dark skin, huge pink lips, or they'll have huge black lips and let lips be huge and nose be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, this is so it's so insensitive. But you know these things go on, man. You know these things go on. Households and families and stuff like that. We know these things go on behind closed doors, and certain things are said. But when you put it out there in the open for public consumption, which is like anything you put on the internet, I don't care if it's emails. I seen Facebook say they updated their WhatsApp terms for its end-to-end encryption, so your conversations can stay private.
Right.
Really? You really think those conversations on WhatsApp are private? No, I don't care what medium you're putting them in. No, even though it's text on your phone, those can be retrieved. Yeah. So to put these things out, I mean, it's going to come a time where you're going to have to, wherever you are, you're going to have to be careful about what you say, even if you're in your own home. You know, because the way media is, the way cameras are and microphones are, if somebody wants something on you, they know how you are, it's not going to be hard for them to get you, especially if that's how you are. Like John Schnatter, the CEO of Papa John's. Yeah. And they said that the conference call he was on was them basically telling him how he can't say the N-word and how, you know, and something else about it. And he was repeating the stuff they were saying, you know, so and that's how they got him, because they've heard him say it before, you know. So it was easy to get him. It didn't take them much to get him. They decided that they just like, yo, we're gonna get in this conference call, record it, and we're gonna trigger him. He's gonna say it, and we're gonna get him out of here. And that's pretty much what happened, man. But going forward, I mean, I don't know, as far as the league, where do you go from here? What do you say to your players? What do you say to your franchises? Because we talked about this ad nauseum about stuff like this, and it's still going on, and it's still there. He's not the only one. That's the thing. The NFL has more John Grudens in there, and they're in high-ranking positions. We know this.
Oh yeah. I just hope it don't come back to the Cowboy.
Man, that's the one everybody's waiting. They was like, yo, if John Gruden emails look like that, they say Jerry Jones emails look like the script to Django.
Yeah. Especially those emails when he didn't want his players to
kneel.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So I don't know, man. But we'll see what how it goes forward. Now, the one thing about the Raiders and all of this, they got from up under that god awful contract.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they were able to get from up under that contract, and they were having a good season up until this point. So now that's pretty much they could salvage it, of course, but it's going to be rough. Now, if they can, because I forgot the interim's coach, I forgot his name, but if he can rally the troops, they can band together, finish on a high note. I mean, who knows where they go from here? But so this had to be done.
So Gus Bradley still has his title as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Gus is still the defensive guy. Yeah, I thought they were going to make him the interim head coach, but they did it for the I think it's the OC. I can't remember his name.
But, well, maybe they should interview Bieniemy then. They got a job opening, right? That coach.
Yes. And you see him twice a year. You know, I mean, you as close. He's the closest coach you're to, and you see on a regular basis. You need to interview him. He at least needs to get an interview, and he needs a job. Period.
And Tampa Bay offensive coordinator. I think.
Byron
Leftwich. Yep, I think he should be a candidate.
Yep, yeah, he should, man. So, man, we're gonna move on from that. We're gonna go into let's see. Yes, Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis has some interesting comments about the Patriots.
Man, I ain't heard
So
that
we
name
gonna
in the what island he's on now.
right. He said Darrelle Revis didn't enjoy playing with the Patriots. Suggests nobody in the locker room likes playing in New England. And so he was on the I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall, Chad Johnson, Channing Crowder, and Jared Odrick. Fred Taylor is also on that too. I don't know. I guess Jared Odrick is on it now. Was on this episode. But after speaking negatively about the tension within the walls of Gillette Stadium, Revis was asked directly if he enjoyed his one season playing in New England. And he said, no, I did not. He took it a step further. He said, when you deal with the things up there, it's a little bit strenuous and nobody likes it in the locker room. That's to be honest, nobody likes it. And they talked about who his favorite coach. And of course it was Rex Ryan. And he said it's just two different, of course it's Rex Ryan. He said it's just two different coaching philosophies. You know, Rex is a little bit more loose. That's why they like Rex, because he's loose. So, you know, he likes dogs. He wants you to go out there and play hard and run into a wall. You know, I'm happy for the grind and the hustle win the Super Bowl 49. But, you know, waking up every day, you know, walking into a facility, having to deal with the tension, you know, you see why they've been to 10 Super Bowls. You see the hustle and grind of it. But at the end of the day, there's other philosophies to win, and it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, you got 32 teams with 32 coaches. Some are intense. Some look at things another way, and there's different philosophies to win the game. And so he brought up, they talked about Deflategate and Spygate. He said TB12, I would say TB12, that was a steal for Bill Belichick and the Patriots to draft him in the 6th round. Nobody never knew that Tom was going to win this many championships, but you got to look at the hustle of Tom. Tom is one of the most competitive players on the field, and he knows how to move chess pieces on the board. To answer the question, is TB12 100%. It's a way that he knows how to run the offense in and out. So he has some other comments, but we're going to focus on what he said about Bill Belichick and New England. And that's something that I've heard from other players before now. Chris Long, Howie Long's son, and the brother of Kyle Long said it when he was up there. He spent the year up there. He was on, I think, if I'm not mistaken, no, he was on the team that they beat the Eagles. He was on that team. He played one season. And he talked about how it was up there. Gronkowski has talked about how it is up there. We know it's suit and tie, it's hard hat and lunch pail. That's what it is. There's no, hey, they're not there to play. There's no jokesters and music in the locker room and all this stuff. No, like you said, it's tension there. Bill has it that way for a reason. That's why they won, because he's been able to have it his way. Him having Brady there, I mean, set up everything, because they say he was hardest on Brady than anybody. So it made everybody else walk on eggshells when he would rip into Brady. Because they's like, if he does this to Brady, a champion however many times over, what is he going to do to me? Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco talked about that. He said that his first meeting, they were watching film from the previous year when he went to New England for that 1 year. And he said in that meeting, while they're watching film from the previous year, and I think he said they had won the Super Bowl, he said Belichick ripped into Tom Brady during that meeting. And he said Brady was just like, yes, sir. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And he took it. He said that set the tone. He said we walked on eggshells the rest of the time there, especially during training camp during the season. Because Belichick did this to Brady, he'll do this to us. So, of course, it's like that. But they want to have fun. They want to win, and they also want to have fun, be loosey-goosey. But that's not how it works. That's not how you're going to win. Because, yeah, as great as Rex Ryan is, as great as all those 32 philosophies and other coaches, none of them have been to 10 Super Bowls. You know?
Right. Well, you're not going to change this person. And I'll just say this, my comment on this thing. You know, I mean, he's like Nick Saban. You're not going to change his personality. He's not going to change because it's 2021. I mean, I think his personality, we can all see it. I mean, he's not engaging. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to laugh it up with you. He's not a coach that's going to show, show his good side. You know, it's always, I've heard he looked just like at practices, in the meeting rooms, he looked just like he does when that TV camera pans in on him on the sideline. And
Yeah.
that's all the players see. They don't see a personal. I mean, they don't see where he just let go and just be, like where's his good side? How can this guy always have a hard edge every hour, every day? It's always the same look. And some guys take that. I mean, some guys just feel that they don't want to be coached by a drill sergeant 24 hours out of the day. They
Yeah.
want to see. They want to see. Like, well, what is his downside? I mean, it's almost some people say it's like with Nick. Their personalities is so similar that like even when they have good moments, they can't share. They can't break the bridge. They can't. He can't
Yeah.
break out of the shell.
Yeah.
And some guys just take it to heart. Like, man, this guy, he just man, you can take it as a way that he don't appreciate everything. He doesn't enjoy coaching or
Hmm.
he doesn't enjoy life. And man, you go to New England or you go to Alabama, that's the price you have to pay. That's what
Yeah.
you have to pay. That's his mold of excellence that he's not going to give you the side you want to see. He's not
Yeah.
going to give you that nice personality, pat you on the back, and sit down in the office and we drank a beer and everything is peace and quiet and everything is happiness because he's never gonna lose his edge. He's never gonna be a guy that only thing you see is you give me 5, I want 10 more. You give me 10 more, I want 20 more. And
Hmm.
that's his personality, and that's he's like hard as a brick and he's not changing. It's
Yeah.
like guys, as we discussed a couple of minutes ago, younger generation guys, man, they they want to be treated the way they would treat you. You
Hmm.
know, they don't mind honesty. They don't mind you. Well, you got to do this better. You got to do this a little. Clean this up. Do this better. They don't mind that. But when you every day, it's always give me 10 more, and you don't have no. There's no personality with the demand. There's no smile on your face. It's a grimace,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just like, man, it's like those man. Hey, they look beyond. This is a generation that look beyond. They don't settle. I say it's good. They're gonna say, well, I know he's won. I respect his record, but man, I can go somewhere else and win and feel a lot more happy about winning.
Yeah.
And that's
It's,
what he looks like. He looks to me. I mean, I'm watching this guy for a long time. It looks like even when he wins, he doesn't enjoy it. He don't. He
yeah.
don't. He don't show the other side of if he has that personality. He
Yeah.
don't take the edge off at never. You know. And it's like you go to work. It'd be like me and you go to work every day. You done. You done put in a perfect day on the job, and only thing you hear at 5 o'clock, you should have did this better. You should have did that
Hmm.
better. You should have did
Yeah.
this better. And then it's
Yeah.
like, and you like saying this is Tom Brady. It's like, Jesus Christ, this did this guy only see negative? I mean, he doesn't see anything.
Any positive? Yeah.
Yeah, I win 7 Super Bowl wins. He still got something to complain about. And
Yeah.
everybody can't take that personality. Everybody can't function. Winning is everything, but it's how you get to the point of winning, where once you get to the point of winning, you might want to try. Well, I know sacrifice is everything in winning, but I might want to try to win with a different way of winning. Where
Yeah.
we appreciate going to the office instead of dreading it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you get the same thing every day. There's no
Yeah.
let up, no break, no smile, no. Let's take Friday off and just have a light day of practice, and just you know walk through it. And he's not gonna let up. He's not gonna take his hand off your throat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's not. And I would say Saban, watching him over the last 15 years, I think, the last 15 years or so, from his beginning tenure at Bama to even his LSU days. The Nick you have now he's a little different now. He smiled more in the last 3 years than he smiled in the last 18 or so of coaching. These last couple of years. Bill is still he's still a stone.
Yeah.
Bill is still you guys we see you had some mistakes today, but you're able to pull out the win. We're on to Cincinnati.
Yeah, he's a block of granite.
Yeah. Right. Right. And he doesn't make it personal. That's the thing about him, though. That's where I think that as a player, you should appreciate, because you're going to appreciate winning, of course, and making your money. But the thing you need to appreciate is that it's not personal. It's business.
Yeah. 24 hours a day business.
That's what it is. It's business. Hello, Robin Brooks. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, man. So I don't know, Darrelle, Revis, and them. Yeah, it's they want to have fun too. That you asking a lot at that point, man. You want to win, you want to have fun. They want to do both. Is what I know. One thing, as we're finding out, you want to win and you want to have fun. The Chicago Bulls, Jordan wanted to win. Yeah. Jordan cared about no fun. You lacking in any area. Jordan was a menace in that the Bulls locker room and facilities. Yeah. The way he harped on, especially younger players, challenging guys. I mean, you imagine that tension in the locker room. And they were winning. You won 6 titles. But Jordan was just like Bill. He's demanding. He's a slave driver. Day in and day out. It needs to get better. And that's why they say a lot of guys didn't like playing with him for that reason, but they won. Yeah. It gets the best results. Yeah. I've never heard about about Popovich and the Spurs and how he was and how he is, and whether he's kind of like that, because as far as the media, he's like that, but with his players, he seemed to have a different relationship. It's not like Belichick. And other coaches and Nick Saban and stuff. It seems like he has legit relationships with his players. He just gives the media that granite side of him.
Yeah, and that's right. But he used to be hard on Tony Parker, though.
He's hard on Tony Parker.
Tony Parker couldn't do anything right. Like the first 6 years he was there, and he would chastise them to the media. He would get on them in practice. Hey, I walkthroughs. He would get on them. And it's just like, pushing them to excellence. But, man, it's like you would almost think like, man, what this guy got against Tony Parker? Man, it's like. But Pop had I don't think he was as distant, I think that he was more of a, when he had to, really be tough, or they on a 3-4 game losing streak or something like that, he would know what buttons to push to get what he needed to get out of his players. But I mean, the thing about him, he was just blessed with good leaders on that team. Yeah. Starting with Tim Duncan, Ginobili, those guys, you didn't have to really, you didn't have to really have to click the light on and for them to do things. So he was blessed with leadership, but his personality is when he needed to get something pushed, or when he needed to take that team to the next level, he did a lot of criticizing.
Yeah. Shoot, you want to talk about leadership? Look at where it started. David Robinson and Avery Johnson. Yeah. And it passes down to Tim Duncan, and then into Ginobili and Parker as they aged. So yeah, he's right. He's been blessed with very, very great good leaders. But go ahead.
I say, believe it or not, another guy that you wouldn't think was hard as granite was Pat Riley. Especially the Pat Riley in his younger days with the Lakers, man.
All you need to know about how tough Pat Riley was in LeBron James' stint with the Heat, early on, he had issues with Spoelstra. Him and Spoelstra did not see eye to eye. And Dwayne Wade, they say, basically had to sit down with LeBron and told him, say, hey, listen, we got to keep Spoelstra in this seat, because if he's gone, Pat Riley comes out of the office. And trust me, you don't want that. And they were able to make it, and Spoelstra's still there to this day because Spoelstra's a great coach.
Yeah.
But Dwayne Wade told him, he said, Pat Riley ain't what you want, dog. You think Spoelstra's bad? This is a cakewalk, my brother, compared to what we had to go through with Pat Riley. And under Pat Riley, they won the title, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Byron Scott said, boy, when they win those back-to-back titles, man, they came the first day of training camp. And Riley had them run, I think they had to run like 12 miles or something. It was just something crazy. It wasn't even in the gym because he wanted to see who came back in shape. And they all raised their hand. Okay, go run 12 miles. Including Kareem.
Yo, oh man. That's how it is, man. But Darrelle Revis, he hasn't said anything that we don't already know. Players want to have fun while they're winning. That's just what it is. But it seems that, you know, you got to keep it. You can have a little play, but you got to be mostly business to focus on your goal. Those are the teams and the players that have won multiple titles. You know, the Rex Ryans of the world, the let's say the Pete Carrolls. You know, they're fun, they're energetic, you know, they're brash, you know, but they don't always win.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we're gonna move on to this NFL recap this last week. And well, we talk about Jaguars. Let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Talk about these Jaguars and talk about these coaches who seem inept, who don't know, just don't want to answer for personnel moves. Like, you asking, why wasn't James Robinson in the game on the goal line to go situation? Urban Meyer, all we know, I don't micromanage who's on the field. Darrelle, Bevel basically said, what did he say?
He came out.
He was tired. Yeah. He came out. He came out after the 58-yard run. You know, he was trying to get a breather, which was false.
Yeah, that's absolutely lie.
Yeah, that's false.
He ran the 58-yarder in the second quarter. And the fourth down. Yep. Fourth down play, third quarter. And it's just, I don't know, man. Brandon, I say this. I just thought what my expectations would be, well, first year be tough. But it'd probably be they have enough from coaching alone to get at least 6 wins.
Yeah.
And man, if it ain't the furthest thing from the truth, you know, over coaching. You got a defensive coordinator who today spoke. Asked him one question. Why are you having problems with underneath routes where the receivers and tight ends are catching behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties? And at times it looks like you got your linebackers playing zone when everybody on the back end is playing man, and it look like there's confusion. And he's bless his soul, it just seems like that's not a problem. That's basically how I can sum it up, how his reaction to that question was. You know, he did say that that Caleb Von Chason, you know, even he had a great game. He said he had a great game about 4 times. And then he just came back and said he made one bad play on the touchdown pass to Pruitt when he was dropping back. He is supposed to have been on Pruitt instead of looking in his own coverage. But I say this, Brandon, man, it's like you can not acknowledge mistakes. You can sugarcoat. You know, you can change the brush and try to paint it the way you want to paint it. But every week you go out there, the defense to me has far more issues than the offense at this point. When you look at it, giving up 408 yards, which is like 4th highest in the league. They're giving up 30, I think, like a little over 30 points a game, which is the 5th highest in the league. You come to that press conference, and I don't expect you to bash your players, but I do expect you to acknowledge that we got to get better in this area. We are failing in this area. Why are we doing this in this area? You gotta put your players in position to be
Yeah.
successful. And I think that from a defensive standpoint, I don't know if that is they're putting them in position to make plays. You can go back to your ends, your outside linebackers. I mean, they're dropping back, but they're dropping back and they're not covering anybody. And we're talking
Yeah.
about third down.
Mm-hmm.
You're dropping edge rushers back in third down, and let alone, one good point he did make was that he said that one of the problems they're having is because they're not getting enough pass rush pressure on the quarterbacks. That is taking they're in coverage too long on the receivers.
Right.
But you got to find. I think we said this 2 weeks ago. You got to find ways to make your defense. You got to disguise coverages. You got to keep the offense guessing, and they're not doing that at all. I mean, they
No.
keep the same open areas underneath. They had it open in that Bengals game in the second half. They had it open in the Titans game, and it seems like a team can run a rub route, take out the nickel, take out Trey Herndon, and the whole left side of the field is open.
Yep. Yep. Shoot, Claybrooks. They said 92% was the completion percentage against him Sunday. 92%.
Well, that's when you got to take him out. You got to put somebody
Yes.
else in the game.
He was getting cooked.
Yeah, you got to put Rusnick or somebody. You got to put somebody else in the game when they completing 92% of the passes on this guy, and he's still on the field. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that it's unacceptable. I mean, that's almost like you taking this year's team and pushing it right back to how they played in 220.
Yeah. Somebody brought up Tyson Campbell. He against him, I think his completion percentage was 88%, and they said that it's not the scheme because Shaquille Griffin, who's been shadowing number one receivers for the most part, he's at 64% of completion percentage against. So it's not the scheme, it's the players.
But it's the want to, it's the players, it's that playing man is a hard thing, man. It ain't the easiest thing to do to make straight man the whole game.
Yep.
You traveling with that receiver, you gotta come up with ways to jump the route, read the coverage right, be physical when you can be, force him out of his route, and those are the things they're not perfecting. I don't see a lot of checking at the line of scrimmage. I see guys too far back, getting sucked in, getting out, just getting outmaneuvered, and I don't understand. And the pass coverage, in the summertime they're saying, well, we're going to run a dime package. We're going to add another safety, and I think at some point, especially in that Bengals game in the second half, it might have been wise to add another safety to help those underneath routes.
Yeah.
But I think they're getting out schemed, they're getting out work, they're getting out performed, you name it, they're not getting it done. I like the fact that they have made strides in stopping the run. I think they've done a good job with that. But you don't need to stop. Hey, if you can stop the run, but you can't stop big plays, which is what is killing this team, is they're giving up too many big plays and they still have only one turnover in 5 games. Then it's time.
Griffin has dropped too many interceptions.
Yeah,
he's
3.
dropped what, 3? Yeah.
3. Yeah, you go in the open week, you be in the halfway point of the season almost. I think I think Joe Cullen is a little bit like Urban Meyer right now. I think he's a little bit over his head. That's how, as a coordinator. No matter how much experience he has coaching defensive line, I don't see enough adjustments, and the stat shows it.
And not to mention, the cherry on top is him having Wingert playing meaningful snaps.
Oh yeah.
He's too slow, dude. I forgot who it was, but they put it on Twitter and they put a couple plays together of Wingert trying to tackle Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
Pathetic. When I
it.
say it was pathetic, it was pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw the chicken wing out there and was on the hope and the prayer of getting him down. Like sometimes he didn't even touch him; he just dove at his feet and never touched him. I saw that with my own eyes.
Yeah. Cisco didn't get a snap.
He didn't get a snap Sunday.
Nope, not a snap.
Wow.
That's
I mean, I don't care where Cisco is in his development. I don't care if you're not ready. You can't keep putting Wingert on the field.
Yeah. Well, they're getting schemed.
He's getting schemed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting schemed, man. And all of this is overshadowing Trevor Lawrence improving.
Yeah.
You know, he's improved tremendously from game to game. Brian Sexton wrote an article. He was talking about it, and they were just talking about his completion percentage alone. So in the first two games against Houston and the Broncos, 54.9%, 42.4% of his passes he completed with 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. But the Cardinals, Bengals, and Titans, 64.7, 70.8, 69.7% with only 2 interceptions. And one of them was like at the Titans game, it was like end of the game. It was meaningless. But yeah, I mean, he's played much, much better. He's much more comfortable now. And he himself said, I think I'm playing smarter ball. He said, the past 2 games have been my best as far as decisions go, completion percentage, accuracy, and all those things. I think that those are my 2 best games. So I think that says a lot. And I feel like I'm getting better every week and just trusting that's going to put us in a situation to win games down the road. And yeah, I like what I'm hearing from him. He's a consummate pro. The kid, he's so mature for his age. Dan Orlovsky did a little breakdown of one of his throws against the Titans, and he's like, dude, he has it. He has it all. He showed on the throw where he said that it's 5-6 year veteran type throw that he made against the Titans, where Marvin Jones, they had pretty much a trio of wide receivers. Mm-hmm. And Marvin Jones runs the out, and he runs out and comes up. And Lawrence sees his first read is covered. He comes all the way back to Marvin. And usually when we've watched our quarterbacks in the past, whether it's been Blake Bortles, Minshew made quick decisions. He just didn't have the arm strength. But Blake Bortles, Byron Leftwich, you name them, even David sometimes, when it comes to throws like that, they have a hitch in their step, in their footwork, and then the throw. Lawrence doesn't have that. So it's one step, boom, balls out like that.
Mm-hmm.
His overall, him improving his game, and I think he's going to get better and better. But he's being overshadowed by his head coach, the coordinators, and just the overall performance of the team.
Yeah, they got to put him in better position to win games. It's like he's got to do everything just to keep him in the game to be a competitive game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing everything that you can think of as far as trying to make things happen. Trying to make plays, trying to move the sticks, trying to he's a lot of times he's getting flushed out of the pocket and he's got to wait for somebody to get open, and he's smart enough now to not take the sack either. But it's just so much more. I mean, it's just, a lot of people just think, man, you bring in a good quarterback and everything
plug and play.
Everything will be fixed overnight, and it's just they got to bring in more talent for this kid, man, because that's the issue. Not enough talent. They're going to play Miami with 2 offensive linemen down. If I haven't said anything on your show, I've said it since day one, that the biggest issue that I had even before they kicked the first football, you have to improve that depth on that offensive line. You can't rely on Tyler Shatley's and Ben Barch, and that's your
Richardson.
For those guys. I mean, you look at Brandon Linder's career. He's been hurt practically every year. It's you got
Yep.
to see more than what you have on the front line, and you got to build it from the ground up. Do whatever it takes. Just build your offensive line
Yeah.
because that's in the long run. If you got a kid as talented, and they do, they got a quarterback that's probably can be here in Jacksonville for the next decade or two. He's that
Hmm.
good. You got to protect him. You got to build that offensive line up. The thing I appreciate about James Robinson at times there ain't no hole.
Hmm.
He has vision. He can see the whatever little crease he sees, he get to it, which
Yeah.
makes him that much more valuable than say a Carlos Hyde who doesn't have the speed, doesn't have the vision, and but he's a physical back. But this kid a lot of times is getting yardage not because the offensive line is blocking, it's because he's got that great vision, he's got cutting ability, and he doesn't he don't mess around. He doesn't go horizontal, he goes vertical.
Yeah.
And you got to utilize what he has. You got to utilize the strength, not just it ain't just Trevor. I mean, that arm strength he has and his accuracy is second to none. But you got to use all your talent because you don't have much.
Yeah.
But it's unacceptable to have this guy on the sideline, have an offensive coordinator say today, even though the game, 4 days old, and he might have lost touch of what, but you can't have that kid in that situation standing on the sideline if you want to win. If you don't want to win, then
Yeah.
just say it. Just make that a statement that we're just going through rebuilding and we don't need to have our best players on the field.
Yeah.
Or we're in week 6 and I've never heard a statement like that in my life, but we're too good to work on a quarterback sneak. That's basically what he said today.
Yeah.
We're too good to work on that play. We're gonna continue to work on it. Like, okay, we what we 0-5, so it's like we're 4-1. So we're gonna work on that play when we play Arizona.
Right. And I
We
think they found something on that left side. They found something on
yeah
that left side, and especially in the running game. Cam Robinson he's been excellent in the run game.
yeah
Pass pro, they haven't been bad because Lawrence hasn't been sacked much, and he's been able to get the ball out of his hands, and he's been able to help his O line. But as far as running, the left is where it looked like they've had their most success behind Cam Robinson.
yeah
And you're right, they need more talent. I think probably their best revamp of a position so far is the tight end position. We went into the season with essentially no tight ends. Like we had a bunch of guys. Now Hollister, I think, can give you some. He stays healthy. He can give you something that no the other tight ends couldn't give you. And then Dan Arnold is athletic. That's an athletic big man.
yeah
And they need to put the ball in his hands more. Jamal Agnew needs more touches. I think that he's electric. He's still learning the wide receiver position because he's a former DB.
yeah
Chenault should get definitely that one catch by Chenault. The announcer was talking about it. Chenault doesn't have a catch. Boom, third quarter, 58 yards. He dragged half the Titans down to the 10.
yeah, and then get another throw, and then get another target.
The rest of the
And
game.
he stiffed on a guy before he went out of bounds, and it's like he was angry. He was angry because he didn't
He
get a
was pissed
pass
off.
on. Yeah, he was mad. You can hear his lips saying, "Finally, I got a pass."
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't take that, man. It shouldn't. I mean, even with Agnew, if you know that a guy has great open field running ability, then run routes where he can create or whatever it takes, but get him in open space.
Yep.
Even if you got to pull the guard, you got to pull a guard tackle, whatever it is, to pull another extra blocker, put a tight end or something, but give him some room, leverage, in space, and let him go. And that's what I'm saying. Man, when you're 0-5, man, you gotta find things to win.
Yep.
You gotta find different whatever it takes. Don't run the same thing that ain't working.
Yeah.
But
You have
find
to. Yeah, you have to manufacture offense.
Exactly. That's what you have to do. You got to manufacture it. It may not be on the script, but I saw something that might work and utilize it. Let's take a chance.
Yep.
And they got to take chances, man. And I tell you another thing. Just because Miami has lost 4 games, and just because they don't look good, and they got beaten 2 weeks ago by the Colts and all that, they got offensive weapons.
Yes, they do.
And don't think they ain't gonna use them.
Yeah. This game has potential to get ugly.
It does.
Yeah, because I just seen Miles Jack is not going to play. They just ruled him out. So you down 2 linemen. You without Miles Jack. They're going to Wingert is going to because Gesicki is ridiculous.
Yeah, he had a great game against them last year.
Yeah. So Winger's going to have his handful with Gesicki. I don't know. Is Tyson Campbell going to play?
He's questionable, but it looks like he's going to play. That's what they kind of indicated. I mean, I think he was limited today, so it looked like he's going to play.
Okay. Because you got to get Clay Brooks out of there. If Clay Brooks is on the field, they're going to target him, and it's going to be ugly. But
so
I just
Trey at the nickel.
Yeah,
and just,
you have to, man. But as I think we covered the bases on the Jaguars, man. I think that's because these guys, man, who knows what the future holds. I would be very surprised if some significant moves aren't made at the end of this year. Because you have to, and that's that's from the top down. I mean, I'm not saying that Urban may not be here because who knows? As long as he don't get in any more trouble, I think he'll survive and go into year 2. But he has to look very closely at both his coordinators.
Oh, no question. Both of them, to be honest.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them.
And I think they gotta also just man, they may have to tear up the roster, man. I mean, they have to. I don't know. You might have to trade a piece. I just say that maybe you might have to trade a big name that you don't want to trade, but you got to find a way to bring in more talent. If Miles Jack can bring in 4 players or something, I think I think the biggest thing they got to do is add talent, and I just don't necessarily know you can add all the pieces in free agency and just the draft alone. I think you got to make some bold moves because to be honest, their talent level just from the depth chart from 1 to 3 is not in the same radar as the top 14 teams in this league. I mean, just to be honest, it's not at that level.
Yeah.
And that's what they got to work on. It's not always that you just have to have the starting 11 that's got to be strong. You got to have, you got to have 3 receivers that can get open and can make plays. You got to have a run. I think they find it running back with James Robinson, but I think they got to get a more potent third down back. I like what I seen in Dan Arnold, but maybe you need to get another tight end too. That can catch. Because you got to make things in the NFL, you got to have talent to make disadvantage. You got to create advantages, and if you can't create advantages against a defense and vice versa, then you're not going to win in this league, man. I don't, you can't have one. Like they got a great quarterback in Trevor.
Yeah,
but he's one piece of the chess.
Yeah.
You playing against teams that's got 10 pieces like Trevor.
One thing I can say about this coaching staff is that they are not maximizing the talent that we currently have.
Exactly.
They're not because the talent we don't have much of. As Bill Parcells said, you need more jars on the shelf. We do. Yep. We need more on the shelf. But the current talent that's here, scheme wise, certain times in the game, situational play calling, clock management. I mean, personnel changes, you name it, it's been questionable from the start.
Oh yeah, no question. And on defense,
Yeah,
you might need to add another safety out there to run a dime package just to
yeah,
stop the bleeding, which might have would have helped against Cincinnati. You might have should have shown a look, even if it didn't work overall. But you slow them down for two of the drives and not allow them to score on the first four drives. You might could have still won the game.
yeah.
That's what you got to do, man. It's a track meet. It's like you gotta come up with something to keep these teams out the end zone, and then you gotta score. It's a scoring league, man. You can't get to the 1 inch line and can't score. I mean, that's just you're not gonna win. I keep saying that repeat record, but you get an inch from the score, and I don't know how did you see it? Did you think that Trevor scored on that play, or did you think that his knee was down?
I thought the knee was down.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw it, I did. I thought the knee was down. I don't think they robbed us of the touchdown. I do think Dan Arnold did not catch that ball, and they shouldn't have gave
Oh
the Titans that
yeah,
touchdown. They
yeah.
robbed us on that call. But as far as him, I thought that knee was down. It's very hard to tell. It was very close. But to me, from what I saw, just me, I didn't think he crossed the goal line.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. It looked like the knee hit. And
Mm-hmm.
even when he reached out, he still didn't put the ball past. It didn't reach the line. So
No. So, well, I think we rounded all the bases and covered the Jaguars. It's
yeah,
we'll look for we'll look forward to hopefully better days down the road.
yeah.
Yeah, but go over. Let's recap some of these games. And I got to start with the last game, Monday night, Colts Ravens. Man, I watched every snap of that game. I think that was probably the best game of the entire weekend, college and pro. Lamar Jackson was absolutely sensational. Teams have been keying on their run for the last couple of weeks. They haven't been able to run the ball like they used to, and that's a couple of reasons. Not only that teams key on it, but they've lost offensive linemen. I think they're down 2 offensive linemen, and their entire backfield is gone. So now you got a bunch of guys off the street, playing running back for you now. But even with that said, Lamar Jackson early, he was a little skittish early. He had the fumble on the 1 yard line, which that's his only issue is ball security as far as fumbles. He's lost 3 fumbles on the 1 yard line in the last 2 years, so he's got to continue to work on that. And that's being careless and I think loose with the ball. I don't think that's any. I think it's something that you can fix, but to go 34 of 44 or 43, 86%, if I'm not mistaken, 442 yards, 4 touchdowns, 62 yards rushing. He was down 25-9 at one point in the game. They came back and won in overtime. I mean, just sensational. And Carson Wentz surprised me too. Nesco, what's going on? He said we winning in London. Nesco calling it right now.
All right.
Ness calling it right now. I feel you, Ness. I feel you, Ness. I like the optimism.
Well, Lord have mercy. We've been long awaiting a victory.
Yeah. But that Colts game, man, the Colts and Ravens game, it had everything. But what you think all about that one?
Oh yeah, I didn't watch all of it, but I watched the point that mattered, which was the overtime period. And man, they got the. I heard the guy after he won the toss.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. As soon as they won the toss, I knew the game was over.
Yeah. Drove him down. I said, man, I just want this kid to get his. I mean, he's not a kid, but I want him to get his due, man.
Yeah,
I just think he's a tremendous talent out there. I mean, people say, oh yeah, all he does is run, and then he throw for what 400 and something yards.
442 yards.
He loves the game. You could see just the passion when he interviewed after the game. And I just think it's time, man, that just whatever questions people got, throw them in the trash can, man. This kid done proven time after time after time. It just seems like everybody trying to put him in the garbage can. Oh, he can't do this. He can't do that. Then he come back and do this. He can't do that. Oh, then he come back the next week and do this. I mean, come on, man. This kid is talented. I wish, to be honest, I know Trevor Lawrence is an excellent quarterback, but boy, I tell you what, I sure wish they had this kid, and this franchise would have been so much further along than where they are now if they would have made that pick, you know.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, he's a tremendous talent. He loves the game. And, I just say this. The Ravens were smart enough to recognize what his total package and long-term success from where he went to where he's at now. And they've been every step of the way with him, you know, through the whole process. And that's what you have to do. This is an example for the Jaguars, that you don't have to listen to the Schefters and the all the ESPN crew that do the draft the draft predictions, prognostications, who
Kuiper,
who do all the measurables and all that, and they forecast, and then a lot of times the mistake of all that forecasting, it stays with the player, no matter what, it stays with the player. Oh, he couldn't do this. He didn't do that in college. He was this. He's not gonna be this, that. I hear that all the time in the spring, And it might be a time where they just said, this is what we didn't know about this guy. This is what we projected and how wrong we were. Yeah, and this cat is a superstar, man. There ain't no doubt about it. Superstar.
Yeah. Let's see. Nesco says Lamar has got to stop with the fumbles. I want him to get his respect. Also, Uncle Jay, but that fumbling has got to stop. Well, and I get you, Ness, but I'm not worried about that because I think that he's 24 years old. That's a young guy thing. Think about it. As great as Patrick Mahomes is and has been, Patrick has thrown some boneheaded interceptions this year. But he's done it. That's the thing, though. He's done it for the last 3 years. If you really watch him, he just hasn't done it often. But he'll have a throw where you're like, Patrick, what was that? Did the cannon malfunction? I don't know. What are you doing? Like, that's a boneheaded play. But that's youth. That's youth. That's plays that Breeze wouldn't make, Brady wouldn't make, Aaron Rodgers, those guys wouldn't try to make. But they're young guys, so they're still going to try to make those plays. Sometimes they get burned. That's the youth in them. But it's going forward. It's Lamar or bust for the Ravens. I mean, you got to hitch your wagon to this train. You got to ride it out. I don't care what happens. You have to ride it out with this kid because they're doing their contract talks now. You got to extend him. Go ahead and pay him whatever the going rate is and move forward with him. Because he hits the open market. He's the greatest free agent in the history of the NFL. Peyton Manning was that at one point. Now Tom Brady was that the last 2 years ago. It will be Lamar Jackson coming up. So, Bills Chiefs. I watched a good little bit of that. I'm not going to sell the farm on the Chiefs just yet. I'm talking about everybody is jumping off the Chiefs wagon right now after this Bills loss because the Bills look so good. But the Chiefs right now, the Chiefs cannot run the football. Their defense is giving up 7.1 yards per play. And to tell you how bad that is, the greatest offense in the history of the NFL, the greatest show on turf, the Rams, Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk, they got 7 yards per play. So Chiefs are giving up 7.1. They're historically bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm not selling the farm on them just yet. I think the year they won the Super Bowl, they weren't that great to start out with. No way. Gardner Minshew broke the record for greatest percentage, the best completion percentage by a rookie in his first NFL action against them, and they won the Super Bowl that year. So I'm not too worried about him. It's just that Mahomes has to be more careful now. He can't do some of the antics and the no look passes and things like that. And one of the things I noticed that they do is the Bills basically said that, hey, we're not giving you anything deep. It's going to be rare you get anything deep. You got to take what we give you. And the Chiefs were reluctant to take what they gave them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all that, man. I mean, I think that let's be real. The Buffalo is, to me, they're number one team in the league right now.
Yeah,
You know, they can score. They've been putting up numbers, and you know, it's hard being on that perch for a long time, man. You know, Pete, you know, Andy Reid is a great coach, but man, every every dog has his day, man.
yeah,
You get figured out easily in this league,
yeah.
man. You know,
Easily,
and
easily.
it might be a little bit of that they being figured out right now. You know, you got to get that.
Adjust.
Yep, but just get the ball to tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I think the running back is hurt, but you gotta establish the round. You gotta establish the ground game, and then open up with the passing. So you know, and
Same thing. Same thing happened to Lamar.
yep,
They adjusted to Lamar. Lamar got to the playoffs. Teams adjusted,
yep,
and they were able to counter to some of the things that made him who he is. And now he's taking his game to another level, and that's where Andy Reid and his Chiefs offense, they have to. I won't say you abandon what your philosophy is and what you want. It's just that now you need to take what the defense gives you. Hey, Patrick, if you got to throw 5 yard, 10 yard passes 10 to 15 times a game because the defense is not giving you anything deep, then you need to do that. Because
mhm,
if you start doing that, teams, what do? They take a step forward. As soon as you take a step forward, there's Tyreek Hill running by your ear for a touchdown. So I think Andy Reid is a great coach. They'll figure it out. They're in a tough division with the Raiders and the Broncos and who else is in that? L.A. The
Charles,
Chargers.
yeah,
Oh man, Justin Herbert and those Chargers, man. The way that they that game against the Browns, which I
yeah,
think the Browns, them and the Browns are two really good teams, but Justin Herbert has really he's entered the chat as far as quarterbacks in this league is concerned, man. That guy is special. Let's
yeah.
see. Let's see what Nesco said. Buffalo said we're going to take away Hill's big plays and make the Chiefs play old school backyard football, and they couldn't do it. Awesome game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they chose not to. I don't think that they couldn't. Yeah, anybody could do it. Play a dump down game and be captain check down. We know a lot of those quarterbacks who are captain check downs. You know, but their unwillingness to do so, and Patrick being greedy. Patrick being greedy is especially he's thrown like 6 interceptions. He threw 6 all last year. He's thrown 6 already. It's him being greedy. He's got to calm down because we know it. You can throw from any platform. The kid was pretty much parallel to the ground throwing the football and still almost completed for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. We know you. You got the arm talent to do it all. It's just that you need to take what the defense gives you. What else? Oh, Cardinals are 5-0. Cardinals look good, man.
Yeah, they do. That's
Yeah.
defense, offense,
Mm-hmm.
quarterback look good, and they went to
Yeah.
the Rams and put it on the Rams, man. And they can win the close games, then they can beat you
Mm-hmm.
with some points.
Yeah.
And
Oh
they
yeah.
got the best. They still have the highest scoring offense in the league. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so happy for Jameis. The Saints won. They're 3-2 now. Jameis once again had a great game.
Yeah.
He's limiting his turnovers. I think he has his best completion percentage, best touchdown to interception ratio. Pretty much he's having a career year in almost every statistical category.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, I actually was in Tampa when he was going through all those struggles, man. The 30 interceptions and
Mm-hmm.
30 touchdown passes, and just to
Yeah, 30 for 30.
see the guy have success and play for a tough coach. But I think Sean Payton is a guy that's helping him, you know, helping his career right now. And
Yes.
they don't they still have weapons no matter what the injury situation.
Yeah.
But I actually watched a little bit of that game and just I watched him a little bit for the last 2 weeks. They didn't have a great game in that loss the previous week, but
No. Yeah.
it's good to come back off a little shaky performance and come back and they might have found their guy, man. They might, I like
And
this.
then
Go ahead.
no, I was saying Michael Thomas isn't
Yeah,
even
Mike
back yet.
Thomas. That's who I was trying to remember there. Yeah, they don't have the best receiver. And
Yeah.
then you want him to throw downfield. I thought that game that they lost to the Giants, he wasn't that
Mhm.
like his ability to throw downfield was limited a little bit by Peyton and them. But you gotta,
Yeah.
hey, this guy got a good arm, man. He may not always throw it to the right target all the time, but he can definitely sling that ball, man.
Dude, that throw he threw to Callaway in the preseason game against the Jaguars,
Oh man, yeah, perfect.
perfect. See,
Yeah,
there's nothing Shaquille Griffin, Rayshon Jenkins, Tyson Campbell could have done about it. There's
yeah,
nothing they could have done about it. It was a perfect throw.
yeah.
See, that's Jameis is going to be famous. Famous Jameis. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gonna be rich. He gonna get that contract.
Yeah. Yeah, because he been getting peanuts the last 2 years, man.
2 years, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he been getting peanuts, man. So
But
let's
he's
see, what was the
definitely
other
better
ones?
than Taysom Hill. Or whatever.
Oh my, come on.
Yeah, I don't even know if
Oh,
that should have been a competition. That's almost like Minshew and Trevor.
oh my goodness. And we're finding out now that Minshew getting reps, splitting those reps with Trevor and taking reps from Trevor. Trevor will be further along than he is right now.
Exactly, which is one of Urban's mistakes that we start charting all the mistakes he made this year. That'll be up there in the top 5 or 6. Believe me. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And
Another
oh
thing,
yeah,
have
don't.
you heard anything about Minshew?
No, he's in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about him. Yeah.
I don't even think he's on the active roster. I
No,
think,
because Flacco's the backup, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I think. Well, he's not on the practice squad, but he's not activated each game, so he's like the third wheel.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And you did all of that, and you hindered your quarterback's growth. Okay, yeah, you like the guy. He's competitive. He's a hard worker. You want to reward him. Okay, cool. Want to give him a fair shot. That should have lasted a couple of practices because at a certain point, you need to give it up. It's
Oh
clear that
yeah,
he's
no,
better.
no question. That should have. It's nice to have competition battle in the all-season program, but once they got in the training camp, particularly the second, third week, once the preseason game started, that should have been over and done, man.
Yeah, yeah,
And all they got was a 6th round pick for him, so they probably should have traded Minshew a little earlier. Might have gotten more value from him. Who knows? They didn't
yeah,
get much in return. But yeah, I mean, as you see right now, I mean, Minshew, he can't even see the field, man. I mean, he can't even get on the active roster, man.
yeah.
So
So, Buccaneers look strong again. They blew out the Dolphins. Um, I think their issue is going to be defense. I mean,
oh
to
yeah.
to
Second,
let you know how bad that secondary is, they had a guy come in play a game who hadn't played in 287 days and has a pending case against him. That lets you know how desperate they are at corner. But Brady is playing out of his mind right now.
oh yeah, no
Um,
question. So where's Richard Sherman? What he's doing?
he's starting. He's the starter right now in Tampa because I think Dean is out, Murphy Bunting is out, and I don't know if what's it Davis. I don't know if he's out too, but I know that Richard Sherman started in his first game back, and he should be starting this upcoming week. And the Rams look strong, man. They look really, really strong. The Seahawks gave them a scare because once Russell got hurt, Geno Smith comes in, and I was like, it's number 7. I was like, Smith. I said, I know that's not Geno Smith. It's like Geno Smith. Oh my goodness, dude. Last time I think they said like 2014 was like the last time he had won a game or something crazy like that, man. dude, Geno's been around for a minute. I forgot all about him. But he came in and he made the Rams sweat late in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Rams I think the Rams going into any game, the Rams can hold their own just about against anybody in this league.
Yeah, I believe that. I like that team. I mean,
Yeah.
especially that Donald in the defensive front.
Oh man, you got to triple team that guy. If you don't, he's going to wreck the game.
Oh, no question.
He's going to wreck the game. Let's see. Is that it for our NFL recap? Oh, the kickers. Oh, how could I forget about the kickers? The kickers had a awful week last week. I think they said 13 or 14 missed extra points. Like 13 or 14.
13 or 14 extra points. Mm-hmm. Boy, that's crazy.
Dude, Cincinnati and Green Bay had, I think, 4 or 5 missed field goals and extra points in their game alone. Mason Crosby missed 3 field goals before he hit the game winner.
Gee.
McPherson, the Bengals kicker, the kid who hit the game winner against us, he missed the game winner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy. I think this is what the league was looking for when they decided to push the extra point back, because they looked at it. I think the percentage of made extra points was like 98% or something crazy like that. Like they barely missed those kicks. It was rare that they missed it. So they was like, you know what? Let's make this more challenging. Let's push it back to the 30, and they getting the results they were looking for.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say is the who is gonna do the kicking Sunday for the Jaguars?
Oh yes, who is going to kick for the Jaguars Sunday? Because what, Wright won the competition, so I mean, is he going to kick, or is Lambeau's back?
I think both of them made the trip tonight to London.
To London.
Yep.
And it's the thing is Lambeau fully healthy? Because you got, I got to believe that you go from one of the most accurate kickers in all the NFL to this, and you suffered a hip injury. It's correlated.
Yeah, it is, and I just think he got to get mentally focused. Wherever his mental head is, he got to get it together, man. Yeah, and I think he's getting. Most teams wouldn't do what the Jaguars have done over the last 2 weeks, like try to lead them on, try to get them away from it, let them come back and compete. A lot of teams, even though his past record has been successful, a lot of teams wouldn't do that.
Look what the Chargers did to him.
Yep. So I don't know. I watched him in practice the last 2 days, and it just seems like he's in no man's land. He's worked, he doesn't do any help with Wright. They both on Wright on one end of the field, Lambeau on the other end of the field. So it just seems like, man, there ain't no bridge between those two, man.
No, there's no bridge between those two. So yeah, man. I think we covered all the bases of NFL, and we're gonna move on. And before we finish up, we got a few. Just a couple on the NBA. Mainly Mr. Kyrie Irving. So he went live on IG yesterday, and I got the video here. So we're gonna listen to what he talked about, and we'll come back and we're gonna chop it up. Let's see.
I had to stop running away from using my voice and using my platform to speak on what's true and what's mine. Nobody's gonna hijack my voice. Nobody's gonna take the power away from me that I have for speaking on these things, and don't believe that I'm retiring. Don't believe that, I'm going to give up this game for a vaccine mandate or staying unvaccinated. Don't believe any of that shit, man. Like really be aware of what's being said before I even get a chance to be on the podium and speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like all these people saying all these things about what's going on with me, and it's just not true. Pay attention to what's going on out in the real world. People are losing their jobs to these mandates. People are having to make choices with their own lives, which I respect. And I don't want to sit here and play on people's emotions either. Just use logic. What would you do? If you felt uncomfortable going into the season when you were promised that you would have exemptions so that you didn't have to be forced to get the vaccine. This wasn't an issue before the season started. This wasn't something that I foresaw coming, where I prepared for it. And, I had a chance to strategize on what was going to be best for me and my family. I came into the season thinking that I was just going to be able to play ball, be able to use my talent to continue to, inspire, influence people in the right way. Like putting this on me is just like, why are you putting it on me? Like this is not part of, what's going on in conversations with scientists, physicians, and doctors. I'm just a hooper, right? Like I'm just a person who's being utilized as an example. For some odd reason, people love to have my name in the mix of just some BS. Like just hearing the way people speak with so much conviction about what I should be doing in my life and what, my teammates should be feeling about me, what the organization be feeling about me. And
so that was a little bit. He had I forgot how long it was originally, but that's just a little taste of what he talked about. And as far as he took some digs at Stephen A. Smith. He didn't name him by name, but you can tell that some of the things he said, he took a dig at Stephen A. I think that Stephen A. has gone probably the hardest on him. I've listened to him talking about Kyrie, and I'm like, man, is it a Kyrie affecting Stephen A.'s paycheck? I wonder. I mean, does Stephen A. have to be in close quarters with Kyrie with no mask on right now, and he's fearful for his life? Is that it? Like, it makes me think that's how he acts. That's how he acts when he's talking about Kyrie. I mean, you can feel how you want to feel about the man, but I've seen some comparisons to Muhammad Ali and him giving up stuff. Now, I'm not comparing him to Muhammad Ali. He's Kyrie Irving. He's not Muhammad Ali. He's not Colin Kaepernick. He's Kyrie Irving. He's always been a different guy. And he hasn't been swayed by whatever the popular opinion was. People, they talked about him ad nauseum for years about how he is, his practices, how weird he is, how he's acted. And he's pretty much said nothing. It's rare that he does come out and say anything about it. He just takes it and he goes play basketball. But hey, kudos to him for, making the decision and sticking to what he wants, because even at this point, after all of this, if Kyrie decides today he wants to get the vaccine and he is up playing for the Nets, I still have no problem with that either way, because when presented with new information, you reserve the right to change your mind. So what's your thoughts on this?
You sure you want to hear my thoughts? Because they might be a little different than yours, man.
Oh, that's why I brought it up. So
Well, first of all, the question is not the NBA. I listened to what he said. Yeah,
this is New York. This ain't the NBA.
Right. And also the NBA did put in a mandate that players wasn't forced to have to get the vaccination. It's in the contract with the Players Association. But the same thing that happened with Wiggins and with Golden State, that, I mean, the mandate is the New York State. It's not the NBA, and they're enforcing it. But I respect him. I respect him to the point that nobody is going to do his own talking. Nobody is going to force his hand, which they're not. And if he's utilizing this platform, I mean, there are people in this country who feel, and there have been people who have lost their jobs. There are situations in this country right now where they're being dictated to get that vaccination. And if you don't get it, you don't have a job. And if he want to be the voice of those people, I commend him. But, I'm not going to change my stance. I think I'm vaccinated and I don't regret it. And I think that with this situation, I think there's been plenty proof in the pudding of if those vaccinations work or if they don't work. I think there's been plenty enough time to a person to make that choice if it's not worth it for them, or it's not, and if it's not worth it for them, then they're going to take that risk. So I don't condone or chastise somebody who didn't make the choice to get the vaccination. They just have to go through the sacrifice of what comes with that. But here's a guy that what I don't agree with him on is that, you know, you did sign your contract. You have gone on publicly over the years, and you spoke about, even when you was with Cleveland, about the importance of team and you know, thing. One reason why he left, because him and LeBron couldn't mesh. But when you're on a team and you're on this Brooklyn team and you're out to win a championship, everybody make that sacrifice. There's players on the Nets. If they had a choice, they probably wouldn't have wanted to take this vaccination, but they made that choice because there ain't no way around it in New York. There's no option B plan. There's no option C plan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're committed, which he's going to be questioned, whether he come back or not, there's going to be questions about what was his commitment to those players. You know, you basically turning your back on this team to fight a cause, and it looks, and that's gonna stay with him. You know, I don't know how long, but it will stay with him. But I just feel that, you know, maybe his voice needs to be heard more. I mean, if you got interview requests, then maybe take your form in a bigger, make your argument bigger.
Yeah.
So people won't have to do your talking. You know, if Stephen A. talking about him on ESPN, I'm sure if he and his, you know, his group or his PR people put him on the show, let's hear what his argument is on why he feels that I'm doing the right thing for me, my family, and those teammates in Brooklyn. You know, I want to, you know, you don't have to go on TikTok and different things like that. Put it out for everybody to hear. And it's not like you got to convince anybody, but I would like to hear what his voice is. What's the long-term goal? What are you trying to achieve here? What's the outcome? What do you want to change to get this situation differently? You know, as he said that there are some people who have lost their jobs. So if you're advocating for those people in hardship because they have to make a decision that based on their bodies, so I just want to hear more of why that he's going to take it. Why is he taking this position? How long is he going to take it? And what is the issue that he has? Because I think, you know, the put thing in the limelight is not the NBA. Maybe his issue should be New York State shouldn't implement a law like that, you know, or California shouldn't implement a law like that. You know, the numbers are going down, obviously, but I think
even in Florida, the numbers going
Florida,
down.
Yeah,
it's a shock to me.
But I don't want to see this go when I don't want to see this comes to a point where the numbers continue to get lower. New York changes the law. Kyrie, welcome back to the Nets. And all of this is forgotten. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think is going to happen. They suspended him indefinitely, and they took a further step saying that his contract will not be renewed. That's a step I don't think that they had to take. You could have just not re-signed him. Yeah. So the fact that they said that they will not re-sign him has pretty much closed the door on the situation, and they're moving forward. The one thing that Kyrie gave them, which he didn't have to, which lets me know that he's still serious about basketball, is he reiterated that he's not retiring. He said the whispers were that if he was traded, he would consider retirement. He said he's not walking away from the game like this. So now they're on the phones pretty much trying to figure out what they can get, I'm sure. And I got Ben Simmons in the title because one of the packages is Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons, I think does. I think he does. He does. I think he helps the Nets. I think he helps the Nets tremendously, man. They're going to be. They should be the favorite if they get Ben Simmons.
Yep. Well, I'm trying to figure out what made Ben Simmons eat his words and go back to camp.
Oh, you don't know?
No, I don't know.
The reason he ate his words and went back to camp, they said that when they saw that this Philly was serious about not getting him them checks, they say that tune changed. I saw the report. I was like, am I reading this right? Ben Simmons camp surprised that Philadelphia was withholding money. I said, are we not talking about business people here? I mean, I'm not understanding. If I don't go to work, I don't get paid. That's go ahead.
I said, well, my boy in Philadelphia Inquirer shot a picture that he put on Twitter like 3 days ago, and it still had the for sale sign of his condo.
Oh yeah. He's done. He's back at He's in training camp, and he's back at the facilities. And he's going to move forward. He's going to play until they can find a situation for him and to be able to trade him. But yeah, he's done there, man. He's done.
So that was
Danny Green had an interesting quote. I'm going to see if I can find this Danny Green quote, because when I saw this, people were kind of frying Danny Green like, well, who in the world is Danny Green to say something like this? If Embiid said it, nobody would question it. But since Danny Green said it, people are like, yeah, I don't know about Danny Green, man. So let's see, where is this Danny Green quote? Basically, he's saying that you got to clear the air on the situation between them. They say he's in a state right now where he feels the city has turned on him and a lot of organizations turned on him. We wanted to let him know that we had his back and we haven't turned on him. We're here. We believe in him. We want him. I think he thought the organization was behind this. This has nothing to do with the organization. It had to do with us. We just wanted to meet with him on a human being friend level. If he still considers us friends, we don't know if that's the case yet or not. Okay, so I didn't see that quote. I saw the one where they say, long as he apologized moving forward, we'll be good. And people were like, apologize? I was like, what is Ben apologizing for? Like, I mean, does he apologize to his teammates saying, he should have been there? The man doesn't want to be there. And he's only reason he's there now is he's being forced to go back. There's no love lost right now between him and the organization and probably some of his teammates right now.
Oh, no question. Well, Doc said some things.
Yeah.
I just don't think the marriage works, man. But
no.
Maybe they can swing a trade and switch guys, switch Kyrie, send him to Philly, and Ben goes to the Nets. But I don't know, man. I just think that all that conversation that went on this offseason, and Doc said what he had to say, Ben said what he had to say. And then I see Ben go back to training camp, and then it's going to be a cloud on the 76ers until he leaves. I don't know. Maybe the 76ers just should have said, you wait at home until we can find a trade.
Yeah.
That might have been a smart thing to do, because distractions are distractions, man. And when they have a shoot around, or even if they win a game by 20 points, you don't think the question going to be asked that, hey, what are you guys doing with Ben?
Right.
How's Ben getting along? What Ben feels like? Is Ben going to play tonight? Is Ben going to do this? And it's just going to overshadow everything. Then you're going to have people like Embiid like, man, we got to get this cancer off this team, man. So it don't look like that's a good, especially with the season starting next week. That don't seem like the ideal situation, man. And unlike football, there's only like 12 to 15 players on a basketball team. And you might want to have those 12 to 15, kind of, they got some type of chemistry where they get along.
Yeah.
Instead of having one guy that's the odd man out. So they have a team huddle. He's sitting in the corner and won't come in the huddle.
Right.
Man, it's all time. I think there's all type of possible combustions that could go on with this 76ers team, man.
Mm-hmm. Shoot. Not only that. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets, well, if I'm the Spurs, um, who else? There's a couple of teams can use Kyrie right now. I think the Pelicans. Hold on. Let's see what Nesco say. I already knew that this Kyrie topic was going to trigger him. Let's see. I don't feel sorry for Kyrie at all. He's doing strange things before the pandemic, missing games and not showing up for practice. The pandemic has been going on long enough for him to have presented the organization with an explanation, and he's given none. Bye-bye. You're on the team that all in except you. Bye. Yeah, I mean, and I'm for that attitude. So yeah, you don't have to feel sorry for him, just like nobody has to feel sorry for Kyrie, but Kyrie doesn't have to participate in your team. He doesn't have to do what you want him to do. He doesn't have to go along with the popular trope. It is what it is. I mean, that's the thing about this generation, is that we don't care generally. I mean, it's hard to care, and the reason why is because of the current times we're in. It's very hard to care when you're being desensitized, and you pretty much every day it's something. Seem like every day. So at a certain point, you're like, oh, that's just that happens. You accept it because it's another day. These things have been happening for the last however many years or so, and that's normal. It's normal. And so stuff like this is like, okay, it's whatever. So, but hey, it is what it is. But plenty of teams can use Kyrie. He's going to continue to draw a check in the NBA because the kid can play. I mean, the guy can play. He can play. So, but we'll see how it is going forward. But if I'm any of those teams, I'm getting on the phone and I'm trying to get Kyrie. I mean, majority of teams that outside of the Lakers who are full, Golden State, they don't have no more space over there unless you're trying to trade away Wiggins or do a package with some other players or something like that. You're gonna have to move some pieces to get him. But there's plenty of teams that can use Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons, even without the jump shot.
Yeah, but he got to start making jump shots no matter what team. You know, Minnesota always there. He can always go to the Great North.
Yep.
Toronto will take him. Toronto, he got a lot of options.
Yeah.
Toronto, Oklahoma City could use use them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oklahoma City can definitely use them. Let's see. Nesco say the attitude of I don't care does not promote success is another version of stubbornness that's wasted. Hey, and you can say, like, when I say don't care, that's just this generation. And you can make the argument that, I mean, these pretty much are all young right now anyway. So we don't know where their career is going to take them, how they're going to change as they get older, and what they're really going to care about. Kyrie does care about basketball. Yeah. If that's your argument, you're going to lose me right there if you think that he doesn't care. He does care about basketball, because if he didn't, he would have never made that video and he would have walked away before this all started. As soon as New York made the mandates, he would have went to the office and he would say, hey, I'm done, guys. I'm not getting a vaccine. Trade me, do whatever you want to do. But if you trade me, I'm going to retire. And it's pretty much it for me. And it would have been ended that. It would have took one day to end all of this if he did not truly care about the game.
Well, we'll see. I mean, when them paychecks stop coming,
that changed Wiggins' mind. That changed Ben Simmons' mind.
Yeah, it might change Kyrie's mind too.
It may, because he's due for another max contract, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is his last year of the contract with the Nets, and he's going to get the max wherever he goes.
Yeah, well, I never thought in my envision that him and James Harden would be working together anyway.
Yeah, I think they're too similar as far as style of play. They need the ball.
Yeah, both of them. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if Kyrie gonna defer for the next how many years that Harden is in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Well, it is what it is, man. I think we covered the bases on that in NBA. I will say LaMelo Ball is my new guy. Dude, he done had some plays in the preseason already, man. I say, yo,
Yeah, man, he's good, man.
that kid is good, man. That kid is good. They had a fast break, and they had the caption Houdini. Like, he had a no-look pass right into the paint for an easy layup, man. And I was like, dude, that's dangerous right there. At 19 years old with that kind of vision.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's under control, man. He can do anything. We pass behind his back, set the, he can push that pace, man.
Yeah.
You add a few more pieces in Charlotte, man, and Charlotte will be a great team, man. They're young, but boy, he could be that, man. I saw them play. They play Chicago or somebody last year. I said, "Geez, man, who's this guy?"
Yeah.
He's got a little bit more flash than his brother.
He do.
Yeah.
He do. They said he's the closest to LeVar out of all of his brothers, and I'm seeing that now in his personality. Nesco says, how can you be on a team and have an I don't care mentality? A team is supposed to be like your hand with fingers. How would your hand operate if some of your fingers say or act like I don't care? If you're only going to show up when you want to and not when you're supposed to, you're going to lose. No, and in general, yeah, you want a team has to be cohesive. We all need to be moving parts, working towards a similar goal and moving in the same direction. Yeah. Now, then give Kyrie his props as far as that too, because he's allowed the Nets enough time to move forward now, and he's letting it go because he could have drugged this out way longer than this. Yeah. So I mean, he's allowing his team to move forward, and they're fielding options, and they want to win the championship. Okay, well, you're gonna have to do it without me, and that's basically what he told him.
So you don't see him in Brooklyn this season?
No, I don't think unless he gets the vaccine. If he gets the vaccine, then yeah, they'll definitely welcome him back with open arms. But without Kyrie Irving and not another star, say like maybe getting Ben Simmons, Nets don't win the title.
Oh, ain't no question about that. I'm wondering with the Knicks. You think the Knicks would tolerate this?
Oh, they would have to. I mean,
you think they'll say, okay, Kyrie, you can be a part-time player for it. Just don't work. Just don't play in New York at Madison Square, but we'll take you on all the road games. You think they would have did it?
I want to say James Dolan probably would have done it.
I bet there's some teams in this league that they would have done this arrangement.
I think so too, especially for a player of his caliber. Yes.
Yeah, and he can practice. I think the rule is he can practice, but he just can't play in the arena.
Right.
So, and then Sean Marks, he just said, "No, we're not gonna do it this way."
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. He might be a Knick.
Yeah, could be. But what could the Knicks give them? I seen another one floated, him going to Dallas to play for the Mavericks. Him and Luka would be dangerous. I will say that. I think him and Luka would be dangerous together.
Who's coaching in Dallas now? He couldn't play for the previous coach. He's got Kid now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could work. I don't think he could have. The guy that was
Carlisle.
I don't think that would have worked. But yeah, I think it'll work with Jason Kidd.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, Kristaps for Kyrie is what they've been talking about as well. Because they say Dallas wants to get out from up under that Kristaps contract.
Yeah. I wonder would he go to the Clippers? Play for his old coach. He had a good relationship with
Lou. Yeah, Tyronn Lue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what can the Clippers give him? Because they're gonna want something.
It ain't working out with their two superstars.
Yeah. I have a hard time seeing them breaking up Kawhi and Paul George. I mean,
if they don't get to the finals this year, it'll be broken. But they got a new arena coming, so
yeah,
good days are ahead with Clipper Land. But I don't think they'll break that up though.
Yeah, if they don't win the title though, you might be right. they may be on the hot seat, and they may look to break it up if they don't win the title this year, which they're not going to win the title, especially coming out of the West. Phoenix, from Phoenix to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Golden State looks good. They look like they're back and ready to go. Klay Thompson looks good. It's going to be very, very tough.
Klay back?
Yeah.
Oh man, I know they beat the Lakers the other night, so I didn't know he was in there. Yeah, but it's good for the league.
I don't know if he played, but I know they say he expected to play this year.
Good for the league, for the Warriors to be back at least somewhat of full strength. You know, that's gonna be one hit, man. That's gonna be one tough division in that Pacific, man.
Yes, yeah, it's gonna be very, very
tough. Lakers, Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a dogfight, man.
Not to mention Utah's gonna come back strong. Jamal Murray comes back for Denver.
Yeah.
I think Dallas takes another step, especially if they can get the likes of a Kyrie. Watch out. I mean, who knows, man? Let's see. Ness say a virus has killed over 700,000 people, and the vaccine is available to help protect you and your teammates. And everybody has decided to put their personal grievances aside, except you, man, dude. Goodbye. Go be a distraction on somebody else's team. Oh, Ness. Oh, here we go.
Ness, he hit it on the nail, man. You can't.
Yeah, he hit it
can't
on the
be
nail,
above the team, man. All those guys. What we said earlier, all those guys. I don't think every player on the Nets was in agreement that I just been waiting to get this shot. I had to get it, and I believe in it. I don't think every member of that team. I bet there was some was held out as long as they could, but you can't play if you got a law in New York that says you can't be in an arena if you unvaccinated. So they had to follow the law.
Right. I can really, really go in on this because when I hear this, it's killed over 700,000 people. Ness, just look it up for yourself. The numbers have been fudged on COVID deaths. They have. They've had people who died who didn't die from COVID, man. They had a dude, he died on a motorcycle crash. They labeled it a COVID death. Lady tripped and hit her head on the sidewalk and died. They labeled her a COVID death. I know people personally. They had loved ones die. They put them in the COVID wing because they had respiratory issues. And when they died, they told the family, say, hey, if you label it a COVID death, you get kickbacks from the government. You get money to bury him. You get I forgot what it is, but if you label it a COVID death, you get money for it. And the hospitals get money for it. The doctor's offices get money for it to label it a COVID death. So that's 700,000. We can debate on that. But 34 million cases, 700,000 died. That's 98.2% has survived it. So that means that majority of people who get it, they get over it. Those are flu numbers. This whole, we want to protect people and protect yourself. Dude, if you got the vaccine, you're protected. How can somebody unvaccinated put you at risk when you're the one that's protected? They're the one that's not protected. I never understood that. Well, you gotta be save other people. They're protected. They're vaccinated. What they got to do with me? I never understood that. I don't get
if you're vaccinated, though, you can still spread it.
Yeah, and you can still catch it and spread it, Ness. I get it. You had it. You use that death's door, and you got over it. I got all of that, Ness. But I'm not buying this. This mandate is something that shouldn't be in place. Why are you mandating this? They say you got 10,000 New York City police right now that's unvaccinated, and they say they ain't getting it. 10,000. It ain't happening. You got workers, medical professionals say they're not getting it to the point where they got to call in the National Guard to come in and help with the hospitals. You not questioning why that is? Okay, those people are stupid. You really think those people are just stupid? These are professionals. They got families to feed. You don't think they thought about this stuff logically? Maybe I'm different, man, but hey, it is what it is.
Well, all I know, I got my shot. I'm not regretting it. So.
Right. And I'm not down on anybody whether you get it or not. That's your personal choice. That's how I feel about it. I'm not gonna vilify you if you get it. I'm not gonna vilify if you don't get it. Because once you vilify me for not getting it, I'm at that point. I'm like, well, forget y'all then. I mean, I don't want to be a part of this. No way. Hey, it is what it is. He say if they force Lisa Reed, what's going on? I say if they force a vaccine mandate, where will it stop with our civil rights? Yeah, where will it stop with our civil rights? And we're talking about an experimental drug. They got video of Fauci and him talking about it'll take at least 6 years to get the vaccine and get it right, to work out the kinks, to know the long-term effects and the effectiveness of it. 6 years to a decade. That's what they said. We're pretty much being walking guinea pigs right now, man.
Man, you better go get that vaccination. You better stop talking yak and go get that vaccination, homie.
Hey, and now they say, oh, the people with the J&J, it's not as effective after 120 days.
I ain't take that one anyway.
Right.
I ain't believe in the one-shot method.
The booster, now the booster shots are out there, and they're trying to get it for the 5 to 12-year-olds. They're trying to get them approved to take it. And,
man, I ain't got the booster yet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're gonna, if you want to be protected, you're gonna have to get the booster. It's going to be needed because the effectiveness of the vaccine is going to wear off.
All right, when that time comes, I'm gonna get that booster.
Hey, Lisa Witchy say Pfizer is the best. That's what I've been hearing.
You got that right. I'm a Pfizer.
Yeah. Pfizer, they say Pfizer is the best. So
Brad, you better go get that shot, boy.
When I do get it, because eventually I'm gonna have to get it.
You better go get that shot. Stop talking about it. Go get that shot, homie.
It's Moderna. It's Moderna or Pfizer. I'm gonna get one of those two.
Go with Pfizer here. You go with the one that the president got and the vice president. You don't go with no. Don't get that Johnson and Johnson, man.
Yeah, that Johnson and Johnson. Oh my God. Let's see. Say Brandon, you're siding with Kyrie because you have your issues with the vaccine, so it appears you're biased. No, I don't care if you do or you don't. I just don't want people to get vilified for when they don't get it. That's all. Whether you do or you don't, it's cool. Say, okay, if it's only 100,000, that's too many people, especially if you lost a loved one. Brandon, vaccine mandates have been in place since you and I were born. Yeah, they have. You say we don't have chicken pox, rubella, measles. Yeah, I know all of that. I got all of that. I know that. All drugs experimental. Tylenol is experimental. Advil experimental. I don't take none of those nests, just so you know, unless I really, really have to. Marijuana edibles are. Hold on. Whoa. Why you threw marijuana edibles in that nest? We need to have a conversation. Where you put that in there? I don't know, dog. You talking about some marijuana edibles. We gonna have a conversation after this next. You had to throw that in there. No, and I get all that. All of those things are experimental, but you are not gonna shame me for questioning the government and what they say is healthy for us, man. Come on. Do you really think that they have your best interest right now? No, it's about money, man. It's about money. Pfizer, J&J, Moderna have made billions of dollars off of a vaccine that was free.
Yeah, and they already done made the money though.
Yeah, and they're gonna make more off the boosters. They getting big pharma. It's going through the roof. They're making money hand over fist right now.
So let me ask you a question, Brandon. It's truthful. You watch CNN?
CNN, it's rare. Only when I see a story about it and I watch a clip or something, but not on a regular basis. No.
Why do you think they don't have the chart anymore that has those numbers up there like they used to have every night for the last 10 months?
What, as far as the numbers, the COVID numbers?
They used to have the COVID numbers listed like every day. Every night they would have this such and such, how many died, how many caught it. It was 3 different numbers they had on there every day. How come you think that we don't hear much about the convalescent centers having breakouts of COVID?
Convalescent centers?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard any stories about an outbreak of COVID in those centers like it was when it first started.
Yeah. Have you heard about Israel? Israel has 94% of their population vaccinated, and they said their COVID numbers are still high.
So what are they taking? They taking Moderna, or they taking Pfizer, or what are they taking?
Don't know. I don't know what the main one is because I'm sure they got access to all of them, but I don't know what the main one is that they're taking.
But see,
See,
this
Nesco
how
say,
this,
you know
this
about.
how I trust.
Oh, I know what Nesco talking about. He talking about me. Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna get on video and I'm gonna tell everybody about my marijuana edible story. That's a story for a whole nother day.
Yeah, we better not put that on.
Man, it was years ago. That was a bad day. That was a bad day.
Yeah.
They say, look what they did with the Tuskegee experiment. You can't trust the government. Yeah, I mean, and it's on you as a person to make that personal decision. My stance is it's not on siding with Kyrie. It's siding with people being able to do what they want with their bodies, man. And acting like, you're gonna sit here and tell me you're gonna act like COVID is so deadly. Like you acting like people are falling down dead in the street. No, that's not what's going on. The numbers are flu numbers. They say every year 300,000 to 400,000 people die from flu season during the flu. That's why we get the flu shots. It's been 2 years, 700,000 deaths. Those numbers kind of add up. 2 years, 700,000. Those numbers add up. As far as the COVID deaths, it's not the flu, but it is flu-like. Most people who get it get over it. And now doctors are telling people if you catch it, if you don't need to go to the hospital, don't go. Stay home. Because people who got put on the ventilators early who died, a lot of them didn't need to be put on ventilators. So this is why they stopped putting people on ventilators. We were pretty much getting experimented on, man, during this whole thing because nobody has the answers. That's the thing, though. Nobody has the true answers. We have a direction we're going. We say, hey, based on past things, okay, this may be the direction to go. And it's all experiment. We're gonna go this direction. Okay, that's not working. Okay, well, we need a booster. Let's go this direction. Okay, well, we need the vaccine. Let's go this direction. Everybody's putting it together as they go.
But China got the answers, and we can't get answers from China.
you adamant about China having those
I am.
answers.
I do. I mean, that's where it broke out from. I mean, I'm not like Trump saying this and that about it, but I think they know more than what they're saying. I do believe that. And it might have came out of a dish. We don't know that, but we know that where the outbreak first started at, and there hadn't been much answers at all about that situation, which is wrong. To be honest, China owe the world explanation. They ain't just America. They owe the world what happened, how did this be started, what happened, was it started as experimental that got out of control. Those answers should be disclosed. Don't matter what country. Hey, if it started in America, then America should owe the world an explanation. So you can go. You can. I mean, you got to learn about this. I mean, this stuff. I mean, I used to think that we'd be over and done in 22. We probably be facing something a version of vaccinations or whatever. This will be an issue probably for the next 3-4 years, not 1 or 2 years as they predicted.
Yeah.
So
Man.
I want to know what the answers are. I don't want to take vaccinations and boosters if I don't know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right for everybody. I have to take a COVID test once a week. I prefer not to do it, but hey, I don't have a choice.
Yeah. See, Lisa Reed says she's trained in public health. She said now they are depriving people of employment unless they're vaccinated. Yeah. And see, this is the thing too, Ness, and anybody's listening. This isn't going away, and it's not because people are. You got people who are not getting the vaccination because the majority of people in the country have vaccination, are vaccinated, and they say we need 70% vaccination for supposed herd immunity. Even with the vaccination, you can still get it and you can still spread it. There's people who are not wearing masks where they go because they don't care anymore. And the first thing, I work at a college, and the mask, we don't have a mask mandate, but we have they say strong expectation. So basically, we want you to wear the mask, but we can't put you out if you don't. People come in there without a mask on every day. And one of the main things they say to me when I ask them about a mask, oh, I'm vaccinated. And that doesn't protect you. You still need to wear a mask.
But a
lot of people feel that way.
But one thing, Brandon, if say you are vaccinated and you get that variant, the impact is not is not as deadly, but you
This is true.
get it, but you might be
Less likely to
back
go
on
to the
your feet.
hospital.
Right, and you'll probably be recovered within a week or two. I mean, not even 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you don't get vaccinated, you get one of those variants that out. I mean, it's the possibility. I just say possibility because everybody's body different. That the possibilities is greater that it'll impact you more if you don't have the vaccine. I mean, from what they have as far as their data, that's what the data shows. But we don't know where it's going at, man. We is no scientists. The scientists don't know. We could be right. Me and you, in the world, we've seen where we've had numbers come down low, then out of nowhere, everything start escalating back.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. So what happens when you get, because Biden was getting his booster shot and they asked him, well, what number do we need to get to feel comfortable as far as vaccinations? He said 97 to 98%.
Well,
there's 14% of the population that's ineligible to take the vaccine because they're not old enough.
Right.
So there's no possible way to get to that.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, those are the answers that, I mean, if you really look at it, Fauci and scientists and everybody else, it's done changed. I mean, it's like there's been one theory to work with, and another theory come in, then another variant came out of nowhere, and then you got to do this. We wasn't talking about boosters 6 months ago, but now we are. We found out that the virus doesn't last forever. So I don't know. As I said on your show before, man, I'm tired of pandemic.
Yeah, it's getting tiring, man.
Get back to what normalcy means.
And look at what it's done. This is another way to divide.
It is. No question. Yeah.
Yeah, because now it's unvaccinated versus vaccinated, maskless versus the masked. That's what it's about now. See, it's not about shaming. It's about life or death. It's no secret that America gets rich off sick people. Yes, it's $1 trillion industry. Israel is using something totally different from the U.S. and is still dealing with smallpox and other diseases. That's not the U.S. because of vaccines. People go to the hospital COVID-free and catch COVID while in the hospital. How do you think that happens exactly? Staff members. I work at a hospital and this is happening. Yeah, they catch. Yeah, people are going to catch it. You work in a hospital where it's going to be most likely you're going to catch it, whether you're vaccinated or not. You're going to catch it. So what's the argument here? Say I'm vaccinated, but I support those people who exercise the right not to be. It's a slippery slope. It is. It is indeed a slippery slope. That whole you got to do this and you have to do that. Who are you? Who are you? I don't have to do anything. Hey, as what's it, Joe Clark? I don't have to do anything but stay black and die. Those are only two things in life that I have to do. You see, if I tell Brandon I'm going to shoot you now, you can wear a bulletproof vest or not. What are you choosing? And choosing not to get shot is not an option. What are you choosing? But that's the thing. Hold on. Come on, man. X out of this. Of course, if I'm going to choose to be protected versus being unprotected because I know I'm going to get shot, that's one thing. Yeah, okay, I'm going to choose. I want to put on the bulletproof vest because you're going to shoot me. Yes, of course. But when you talk about COVID, 98.2% get over the disease once they get it. So the chances of me dying from it is already slim. And then those who have passed, look, a lot of them had underlying issues. They had other things going on. Some of them weren't the most healthiest people. To those who are, whether they're overweight or they got other diseases or things like that, man, who knows? You say exercise your right to not get vaccinated, and I'll exercise my right to not be around you. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And see, that right there is fine. And trust me, people are fine with that. I am fine with that. I'm telling you, at this point, I don't care. I've had people call me. Well, my mom called me. It's funny. I thought somebody had died the way she was talking. She was all somber, talking about it or whatever. But if that's what you want to do, cool. Cool. Just know that if that's your attitude, just know if I do get the vaccine or they don't have to worry about the vaccine anymore, stay from around me then. If that's the case, don't come back. Don't go. That's the thing. Once you gone, baby, you're gone. Don't come back.
What is this, Tyson Fury?
Hey, what they say? Born alone, die alone.
Yeah, that is a true statement.
Born alone, die alone, man. It is what it is. You see, my mom said, "Don't talk about me." Hey, that is what it is. That's like Jennifer Aniston said that she's lost friends throughout this pandemic, and she lost family members and people she don't talk to no more because either their stance on the vaccine, not wanting to disclose whether they were vaccinated or not, or they're just not vaccinated. And when I heard that, I was like, well, good for those people who don't deal with her no more. Because who are you? Who are you? You don't affect my life in any way, man. You don't. I have to live for me. If I died today from COVID, I want you to show up to my funeral and sing the Upper Room. That's what I want you to do. Show up and sing the Upper Room. Say, hey, he had great potential. He was going somewhere. He was hard-headed. He didn't want to get the vaccine. He didn't listen. He passed. But we're going to sing the Upper Room. We're going to celebrate his homegoing. Go do that.
Yeah, go get that vaccination, man.
They say the real ones are going to be cemented. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. But, hey, it is what it is, man. You know, and see, just this discussion alone shows you the divide. Because once we're past this, and we will get past this at some point, it's going to be something else.
Well, hope it don't be COVID.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Let's see, we're gonna move. Oh, we got like one last topic. Let's see, you get this last one. Let's see, Rome, you told you gotta wear your seatbelt. You can't excessively speed. You can't steal out of stores. Laws in America are doing just that, telling all of us what we can or can't do. So all this, you can't tell me what to do, is bogus and juvenile. Hey, but that's still, and even with those laws, as last time I checked, people break those laws every day. Every single day, people break those laws and buck the system all across the world. So that right there, well, we have things in place. It's people. Well, why the jails feel like they are? Because people don't care. They're gonna do what they want to do. Hey, and next time I'll sing with my best voice, Brandon. I promise. I appreciate that. Hey, and I need a lady to sing "Going Up Yonder." That's what I need. I need "Going Up Yonder" in the upper room. Go ahead and sing that. Let's get in this last topic, and I'll catch the rest of this. This Bucks. Who are they playing?
Who winning?
Let me see who's winning.
Bucks and the Eagles. Was Minshew done been in the game?
Oh, you terrible. See,
or he's holding a clipboard. Which one is it? Is he on the sideline or is he in the game?
Tampa's up 21-7, and they got the ball.
Well, geez, man, that game over with. I gotta watch baseball, man. They got baseball on. Man, what's our final topic, man? I got a confession. I watched the fight, man. I was very disappointed, man.
And that's the last topic that we're going to talk about. That's why I'm bringing this up now. We're going to talk about.
Man, I'm disappointed, man. I ain't never. Hey, look here, man. This guy, man. Let me catch myself, boys. Come on, man.
Right. See, Lisa Reed said, "Don't let them bully you, B." Yeah. Hey, trust me. I was brought up by bullies. You ain't gonna bully me.
You better go get that shot, boy.
Don't worry. Cause
coming over to the crib tomorrow and come pick you up and take you to Gateway.
Hey, when it's needed, when it hinders me from going to where I want to go, okay, yeah, because I want to travel, and it's pretty much going to be needed to travel internationally, and so now I have to get it. Hopefully, I can plan this trip to Thailand soon. I don't know when I'm gonna go, but yeah. I got a friend of mine. She's from Thailand, and she's like in her 60s, and she hasn't been back there since she was like 17. And she was talking about going, and I always wanted to go, and she's from there, so you know. Let me see, and let's go say, "Tell him, Uncle Jay." But man, let's get into this Deontay Wilder. And yes, I will say, Mr. Reed, I am incredibly disappointed at the result of this. I don't like Deontay's demeanor. He's a sore loser. And shout out to Nesco. I always love my back and forth with Nesco. But he sent me this article about Deontay Wilder's ex-trainer, and he was saying that Deontay's untrainable, and I believe this. One of the things that really stuck out to me with him was the fact that at the end of the fight, Fury has pretty much beaten you 3 straight times. If we being honest, he beat you 2 straight for sure, but it's probably 3 straight times this man has outclassed you. And you tell him after the 3rd straight time that you don't respect him and that he's a cheater or something like that. And I'm just like, he's immature, man. He's Sha'Carri Richardson. It's just he's had more success.
Well, if you're gonna be a big dog, you gotta control the fight first of all. You know, you're gonna come out and speak before you enter the ring and say that this is payback, and I worked hard on this, and I'm gonna show all this and pay him back. Then you get in there. We all know you got a great right hand.
Yeah.
But number one, your hands too low. You didn't follow anything. You done fired your first trainer. You don't listen to the second one. And everything that he told you to do, you didn't do it.
Yep.
And it's like, you know what the guy gonna do. I mean, to be honest, he was tired after the midway in the
3rd
second
round.
But he was tired at the end of the second.
Yeah.
You know, he was hitting them. He started to fight the way you could beat him, which he body punched them the whole 1st round. But it takes a lot of energy to do that the entire fight. But he was chopping them down like a tree when you hit him with them body punches. But then he lost his wind. He kept his hand down. And the one thing I don't like about him is he's 6'7", and he fights like he's 5'6". You know, he don't use his jab. He don't keep the guy off of him. And that's what Tyson Fury, I mean, he got him in, he clutched him, he started bringing him in, he tying him out, he getting in close. I mean, that shot he hit on him was great. He knocked him down twice. But where's the finish? He didn't finish it because he was too tired. He was waiting for the round, waiting for the bell to ring for the round to end so he can go back and sit on the stool and rest up. And I'm just saying, man, a guy that got hyped, man, I'm a big boxing fan. I can remember Larry Holmes back in '82. There was all this hype about Jerry Cooney and all that. Oh, yeah, Cooney going to do this. Man, hey, he went in that ring. Yeah. That fight was over by the 3rd round. It wasn't even a fight no more. It was over. And that's what this guy got to do, man. You can't come in there with this. The guy's 6'9".
Yeah.
You got to cut him down. I mean, he's stronger than you. He gonna bully you. He gonna grasp you, and you got all the reach. You got 6'7". You got the height. You got the reach, and he didn't use it. He didn't use it in the second fight. So I'm done with that, man. Hey, look here, he might fire trainer again, but I'm done with it. I mean, I don't see him. They don't need to fight for the 4th time. Believe that.
No. Oh, let me get Nesco's comment real quick. Nesco is the one who taught me about a lot about boxing and watching clips with him and him sending me stuff, just talking to him about it. And one of the things he's been adamant over the years is that Wilder is a one-dimensional fighter. Let's see, he said it in his comment. He said, I knew he was going to lose because Wilder is a one-dimensional fighter. After the right hand is nothing. How are you out of breath in the 2nd round? Yes.
Out of breath.
And he said, right, Uncle Jay, no jab. Everything that Tyson was doing is what Wilder should have been doing in this fight. Yeah, I think once the second fight, the first fight ended, Tyson Fury's camp reevaluated what they how they went about it. And one of the things they did, because I remember before the second fight, there were reports that Tyson Fury was up to like 275 pounds. And they saying that he's out of shape because he had got a new trainer. They said, oh, he's out of shape. He's up to 275 pounds or whatever, basically almost shaming him. Dude, that 273 that he showed up with, I mean, that was the most in shape 273, not looks wise, but conditioning wise I have ever seen. After the second fight, Fury looked like he could have won another 12 rounds. Yeah. The dude was fresh as a daisy, and he took that big frame and he leaned on Deontay Wilder. They noticed that Deontay can't keep you off of him. So anytime they got tangled up, he leaned on it. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been leaned on by a 270-pound man, but he's heavy. I'm telling y'all, and it's going to sap your strength. And after the third round, the dude was done. After the second round, he was done. I mean, like Ness will say Fury will beat him every time. Yeah, he will. He'll beat him every single time. They fight 10 out of 10 times, and I'm taking Fury every single time because Fury's a boxer. Deontay is a knockout artist. Yeah, let me see what his former trainer said real quick, and we're gonna end it on this. Let's see, Deontay Wilder is a sore loser, but apparently he's also a horrible winner, according to his former trainer Mark Breland. Breland, an Olympic gold medalist, was fired from Wilder's team after multiple accusations from the former heavyweight champion. After the coach threw in the towel during Wilder versus Fury 2 to save Wilder from his KO he experienced in the trilogy, he was accused of being disloyal. However, Breland has broken his silence. And so he says that the facts are that my time in coaching positions with the Bronze Bomber changed drastically in the 12 years since I started with him. When he turned pro, Jay Diaz called me and humbly stated that he needed a trainer for a great prospect that he had at his gym. Boxing goes like this. You walk into a gym, I train you, I find you, and sometimes I manage you too. So Jay was seen as the head trainer in the media, but I was the only one on the team with a boxing resume, and I was the only trainer. That was okay with me because of my humility. I didn't have to be the one in front of the camera. I've lived that life. He said, after Deontay became a name in boxing, new members did join the team, and it got to the point where you don't even have my fighter's phone number. I haven't spoken to Deontay alone in years, and things that I told Deontay to do had to be ran past Jay, and that's a problem. He said, Breland believes Wilder became untrainable at some point. Deontay had become untrainable because he was at the point of he know more about boxing than all of us, so teaching a correct jab was not a priority to learn once he continued on his knockout streak. So a coach can only teach someone if they're willing to learn. Man, see this right here. This is why you marvel at Michael Jordan. You marvel at Kobe Bryant. You marvel at LeBron James. Marvel at Rondo for him fixing his shooting issues. Guys who changed their game and added tools to the tool bag. You can't be a one-trick pony, and that's what Wilder is. This man, he was like, I'm knocking everybody out. I ain't got to learn the jab, and he doesn't have a jab to this day.
Yeah, you're right. Or I mean,
and it's too late to get one.
But you got to be a defensive fighter too. You can't take head shots. And expect to win fights. He's bleeding out the head because he can't stop he don't get his hands up to block the punch. Yeah. And it's just like, he's got the tools. He's 6'7". I don't know what his weight, but he looks like a fighter, but he doesn't perform like one. Right. And just what Mark Breland said, man, lack of respect. That's the one thing. If you got a trainer, the guy done been through the ropes before you, and he's telling them what he needed to know, and it's going out the other window. And it's like, and to say nothing, Tyson was out of shape. I mean, he had gird over the belt. I mean, over, you could see the gird on his back. That means he wasn't in the greatest of shape. But when he's leaning on him, when he's leaning on him, he's resting. And when he's clutching them, he's resting. And then, he had an opponent who was more tired than he was and wore that. And he just, the thing is, man, this the sweet science, man. You gotta be smart, man. You can't, I hate to see a guy like him don't use angles. He didn't use angles for the second fight. I only saw the second fight and this fight. He didn't use angles at all. he has the foot quickness. I don't know what his arm reach is, but it looked like his arm reach is longer than what Tyson's was. But he didn't use any of his advantages. He just came straight, no angles, no movement, no foot movement, and he got to build up his legs. He's too skinny in the legs. You're gonna be a power. Yeah, you're gonna be a power punch. You got to punch from both sides. You just can't punch from the right.
Yeah. One of the things in Wilder Fury 2, I broke it down on my podcast. That episode somewhere on the internet of me breaking down the last fight. But one of the things I noticed was Fury gaining the weight he gained, but also Wilder gaining weight.
Yeah,
Wilder put on like almost 15 pounds for the last fight. He put on even more weight for this fight.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that he had no choice but to close the gap as far as weight, because that's an advantage for Fury to be so much bigger than him.
Yeah.
That's why you have weight classes where you don't have a Floyd Mayweather fighting a Deontay Wilder, because it's different. The power is different.
Yeah.
But Fury is him having extra weight is normal. If that makes sense. It's normal to him. It's something that he's used to. He doesn't have to get adjusted to being heavier. Deontay is not naturally a heavy guy. So putting on more weight is going to do it's going to mess up his conditioning. Him lugging that around, and apparently he doesn't train well. Of course, they said he become untrainable. So I'm pretty sure he probably could get used to that weight, but because he doesn't train like he's supposed to, putting on that extra weight, that's what he basically carrying around a spare tire. And so that's why after the second round this past weekend, and after the third round, the previous fight, he was gone. He was absolutely gassed. You see, conditioning in boxing is like sunlight to Superman, and that's the truth. You have to be conditioned.
Oh, no question. Now, especially as a heavyweight. But I say this: Tyson, if he was a champion 10 years ago, he wouldn't keep that belt. If he was a champion in the 70s at a heavyweight,
right,
he wouldn't be a champion.
Yeah, because he'd have to face actual boxers and not knockout artists. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they'd take advantage of him being out of shape. They'd take advantage of, they wouldn't get clutched. A guy like him, man, you got to keep him moving around the ring.
Like he wouldn't be able to touch those heavyweights. He wouldn't be able to touch them because they get such in superb shape and they run around the ring and tire him out.
Yeah, they're jab in, jab out, jab in, jab out, hit him from angles, move him around. I don't know if they knock him out and all that, but he wouldn't fight like this Deontay.
No. No. But yeah, man. Oh, and Ness, he's a Sunlight to Superman. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's like a there's an alternate universe. It's a cartoon. It's about Superman. They kind of go into an alternate universe of all the heroes. And in this alternate universe, Superman was captured by the government when he first came to the earth. And so when he's captured by the government, he's under lock and key with the government, and they keep him under red light. They rarely let him get sunlight. And so as an adult, he's like rail thin. He's small, he's skinny, he's not strong because they keep him under red light. You got to see that, Ness. If you've never seen it, I'm going to get the title and I'm going to send it to you. You got to see that one by Superman. I think that was a really good one.
Somebody in these boxing gyms. Let's go find another Riddick Bowe.
Oh, Riddick. I'm just waiting for my guy Kent Cruz to blow, man. I interviewed Kent Cruz, and he's a great young boxer, and I'm waiting for him. I think he's gonna be a champion one day. Hey, and as soon as
heavyweight,
no, he's a. I don't think he's a. I think he's a light heavy. He may be light heavy, or I don't think is he featherweight? I can't remember. I think he may be. Is he 150? Let's see. I can't remember. Hold on. Let me tell you. If y'all haven't seen my Kent Cruz interview, it's on YouTube. You go back and look at it. Me and Kent Cruz talking. Cool guy, man. Yeah, he's 16 wins, 10 KOs, 1 draw, no losses.
Well, if this was back in 1982 and Larry Holmes was fighting Tyson Fury, that match wouldn't go 3 rounds. He would have jabbed him to death.
Yeah.
He would have jabbed him to death, and there's no way in the world he would have matched up with him.
Yeah. Oh, Ken is super light. His division, he's super light in his division. But yeah, man. So I mean, Wilder is just this has been very disappointing. I like the brashness, the cockiness, but now
they gotta back it up. You gotta back it up, man. I lost to the guy 3 times, 2 times out of the 3?
3 times. 3 times. You know, it's a wrap. So I mean, it is what it is.
I think he's done, huh? I mean, who is he gonna fight now? He can't get another payday.
Yeah, it can't be Fury.
Well, he doesn't have any motivation to fight the guy. You know, what, he gonna beat him 4 times? I mean, all the gusto gone.
Yep. Yeah, it's gone. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds for Mr. Wilder. But he ate some very humble pie.
A lot of humble pie, man. They gotta get these Detroit boxing gyms back on rolling, man. They gotta get some heavy in here, man, from the hood. Man, we gotta get
Yeah. Hey, Kent came up in St. Louis. So he came up in those boxing gyms in St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, man. They gotta get these gyms back together, boy. That's an embarrassment, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, man, we'll see how it goes forward, man. But I think that's it. I think we covered all the topics. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Nah, I just Lord have mercy. Maybe there's a win in London. I don't know.
Maybe. Nesco called it, so we're gonna go with Ness. I believe I'm gonna go with Ness. Okay, I'm gonna be a believer. I won't be a negative Nancy. I'm gonna be a believer saying that they're gonna get this W against the Dolphins. But they have to run the football. It's gonna start with running the football.
Yeah, make sure they have James Robinson in the game, especially on the goal line.
Yeah, on 4th and short, please have James Robinson in the game.
Yeah, I still don't know about the defense, but a win would be nice.
A win would be nice, man. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all subscribe to all my social media and all my platforms. I will be back. See, Lisa, I was gonna compliment your new AV that you put on your Facebook, the new picture she put up. She got the little black dress on. I was gonna compliment her, but she talking about the Jags. Sorry, as F.
She tired of seeing losses, man. You can't.
No, I got it. I got it. But she a Cowboy fan, so that's
Cowboy fan.
Right.
Well, you have to root for 2 teams when you have the Jaguars as one of your teams.
This is true too.
Let me see. Bring the Jaguars up, man. Let me see the Jaguar before we head out, man. Let me see.
Oh, the Jaguar.
Oh, look at the Jaguar. Woo, the 0-5 Jaguar on you, boy.
The 0-5. Hey, go ahead and put the L right there. Put that L right there on there. Put that L right there. Put it right there. Yeah.
Right,
at least
man.
say that dress is fire. Yeah, the dress is fire, but you being a Cowboy fans and hating on my Jaguars is not. So, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We will be back next week with another show. Hopefully the news cycle isn't ridiculous this next week. But hey, it's good for ratings. So people want to hear about this stuff.
Yeah.
And these emails, we're going to hear more about this. I predict by next week, we're going to have more to talk about those emails because John Gruden ain't the only one. I think this rabbit hole is going to go deep.
Well, just hold your horses, buddy. You know, the Jaguars going to London.
Mm-hmm.
We got to make sure the coach at home.
Yeah, I got to make sure. He got to come back. He can't stay in London.
He got to come back with the team, man, even though they might be 0-6.
Yeah, you got to come back with the team, man. You say, I'm going to give you a pass, LOL. I appreciate that, Lisa. But tune in next week. We'll be back. Make sure y'all follow Mr. Reid on Twitter, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times-Union. Hey, man, this was therapeutic today, man. We needed this. This was good, man.
We went back and sat in that barber shop.
Yeah.
Chopping it up at the barber shop.
Chopping it up at the barbershop, man. But hey, until next time, y'all, peace out. We are out of here.